It's been a year in the making. It's been a season of mountainous highs and cavernous lows, of extraordinary feats and amazing tales. It's been a hell of a journey and the end of an era. But finally, the 2010 SANFL Grand Final is upon us. For the 11th time in a row, the Bulldogs are here. There are 11-year-old SANFL fans who've never witnessed a grand final without Central District. To them, it's the natural conclusion of the season. The Dogs have always and will always play in the final contest. It's just a question of who dares to challenge. Today, it's the Redlegs. One of the oldest teams in the league, Norwood has a grand tradition to uphold. But in over a century of premiership battles, the only team they've never met in the decider is Central District. With no silverware at the parade since 1997, the motivation to succeed today has never been greater, and the prize on offer is well worth the wait. Today, champions will be made as history unfolds. The Dogs can win their 9th flag in 11 years. The Redlegs will be going for number 28. From South Australia's Football Park, it's the 2010 SANFL Grand Final, Central District versus Norwood. Maybe one play left in it. Oh, it falls for Tigan. Tigan to goal. He took the goal. The Redlegs in front. The Redlegs in front.
Norwood are into the 2010 Grand Final.
Well, some absolute heroics by Nick Dygan got his Redlegs into the Grand Final. Have a look at Footy Park. Looks absolutely sensational for the 2010 Grand Final. Just sends a chill through your spine as you get here on Grand Final Day. Brendan Phillips. Now, Neil Cross is on assignment at the Commonwealth Games, so you and me today. Now, Sticks, I know in 02, you coached the Double Blues to a flag over Central. Can they be beaten today?
Oh, look, they certainly can be beaten today. It's going to be about Norwood's run, carrying and spreading to space. They need to be strong around the contest, but the only thing, Norwood hasn't saluted the judges since 1997.
No question, this is a battle of defences. Dan Jock here, short, Fleming running down the field half, marks it at centre-half forward. I think he was looking to play on now, does so successfully. Dan Jock here from the bench, pushes it along to a square. Oh, what a kick from Jarrett.
Norwood in charge, here's Rowe, front of the pack, he's got a player in there who'll use him, finds him, it's Harvey. Harvey plays on, Harvey goes.
It's all over. Adelaide have lost, and Norwood are the winners. 73 points, the final margin.
And a big win for the Redlegs there over their big rivals in Port Adelaide. Medal picked up by Johnny Cunningham. He was terrific. 2 goals for that day. Anthony Harvey kicked 3 and Sticks. So did big Jimmy West cross from Glenelg, and he kicked 3 for the Redlegs. So big win. They'd love another one now. Let's have a look at the Redlegs record. 27 flags. Sticks.
Yeah, look, 27 flags. They've been a dominant force in the SANFL for a long time. They really haven't done a lot since 1997, and they're really looking forward to this one under Nathan Bassett.
And what about this record now? The guys, the dynasty of the new millennium, 8 premierships in 10 years.
Don't you get jealous every time you see this come up? Yeah, they've been sensational. They know what it's about. They know how to win them when they do get here. So look for Roy Laird and his team once again this afternoon.
Well, they certainly do know how to win them. They've won absolutely plenty of them now, and we're going to have a look at the run to the finals for the Bulldogs. Well, same old for them. For the Redlegs, Sticks, it started in the qualifying final.
Here goes Campbell. Campbell thought about the kick, got it to Shenton. Shenton lines them up and kicks a goal. Lower, beautiful handball over the top to Phillips. Phillips gives away to Fuller. Fuller lines them up and splits the middle. Rowe's been double tagged most of the day. Oh, brilliant Dawsey to Phillips. Shut the gate. Norwood's home.
Well, the Tigers just struggling to find an avenue to goal in that game. Cam Shenton bobbed up, kicked 3 for the Redlegs. They got up by 44 points, so the Redlegs into the second semi-final.
Nash pumps inside 50. No mark to Jonas. Paddles. Here's Hayes. Oh, he might just kick a goal. And he does. Dutchke out into the path of Gunston. They're queuing up. Here's Williams. He'll run onto the footy. Where's the pace from Jonas? He's got to get there. Williams gets the kick away. The Bulldogs will go into another grand final.
11th straight second semi-final win for the Dogs. They were absolutely terrific. Got off to a flyer, 27 points up at quarter time. The Redlegs played catch-up, but they couldn't quite get there, so Norwood had to use their second chance in the prelim.
Gets it forward. Chance coming up. Here's one coming for the Redlegs. Oh, what a kick! Oh, they're back! Maybe one play left in it. Oh, it falls for Daigan. Daigan to goal. He's kicked the goal. The Redlegs in front.
Well, the Redlegs there, they made a slow start. The Eagles 35 points up early in the third quarter, but some heroics from Nick Daigan got them home just in time. They got into the grand final, their first one since 1999 sticks. Now, with our coaches, well, the experience, they're on different ends of the spectrum. Roy, we know, is the master. But what about Nathan Bassett? What do you make of him?
Well, Nathan, I caught up with him early in the day as I walked into the ground, and he seemed really cool, relaxed and calm. As Nathan Bassett, that's his characteristics anyway,
Yep.
but he seems to be on top of his game and really looking forward to this afternoon's game.
And what about this man? The man he's up against, he knows all about winning flags. His finals record is 17 wins and 1 loss. So you know right now he knows exactly what to expect today.
Talk about being cool
We've
and
had some
calm.
great tussles with Norwood this year and probably over the last 3 and 4 years. They've been a really competitive footy club. Their form this year's been outstanding. They've got a lot of things that they do which we're very respectful of. You know, the best carry and run and carry side in the competition, I reckon, this year, and probably over my time, one of the best teams I've seen it doing it, so we've got to put pressure on them to try and stop that.
I spoke to the group last week about probably the 2 most famous premierships in Norwood's history. 78 because Norwood were 5 goals down at 3/4 time. They were playing a team that only lost 1 game all year and they got up to win by a point. 84 because they came from 5th to win the premiership.
Long and high towards goal, it's online.
We don't tend to think back to history. You know, this is a new playing group, probably the last time this playing group will play together, so they want to achieve something now for them. And the footy club's been much the same. You know, you turn a page when 2009 finishes and you're on to 2010, and all focus has gone on to this week.
Our group is terrific, and there's a real hunger there, and the guys love spending time with each other and love playing for each other on the weekends. We just don't want to let each other down.
It's always quite physical. The first half, particularly, you're running on pure adrenaline. Whether you've come through a second semi or a prelim, it makes a good point that you've got plenty of petrol in that first half, so it'll be super excited, super physical, and be a good grand final, I reckon.
Game's going to be tight, it's going to be close, it's going to be a hard-fought grand final.
Well, there's the Redlegs coming out onto the deck, and Brenton, it's been a really tough final series for them. They would have spent a lot of petrol.
They certainly have, and what they probably have spent it on is the last quarters. They've really always put the foot down and accelerated in the last quarter, so look to see whether they can run the game out today.
And what about the Bulldogs? Look, their experience is unbelievable. Amongst this group running out here, 20 premiership medals, Brenton. That's got to count for something today in the heat of battle.
Yeah, very envious of this group running out here today. There's a lot of premiership players. They know how how to get the job done, and they'll be on their mantle today.
Yeah, they certainly will be. One man who hopes that they won't be on their mantle is the president of Norwood Football Club, Joe Tripodi, and he's downstairs with Chris Kendall.
Yeah, thanks, Sodas. Joe, it's been a very frustrating decade the last 10 years or so for the Norwood Football Club, but this must be a culmination of so much hard work. You all must be so thrilled.
Yeah, we are. We're very happy to be here today. We've worked so hard over the last few years just to get us here.
It's always a team effort, these sorts of things, but one man that must take a lot of credit for turning things around, Nathan Bassett. You were sitting Norton 4 on Anzac Day. From that moment, they really settled into the game plan, and here they are playing off in a grand final. He's been influential, surely.
Oh, absolutely. He's been so cool, it's not funny. He's very assertive and knows exactly where he wants to be. Yeah.
And hopefully for Norwood fans, that's on the dice at the end of the day. Joe, thank you very much, and good luck for today.
Thank you. Go the Legs.
Well, Joe Tripodi, go the Legs. He wants them to get up. I know one man who doesn't want them to get up. Tommy Zorich is the president of Central Districts. He sat over and watched them win grand final after grand final, and he's with ex-Eagle, Michael Philippou.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, I've been joined by Tom Zorich, the president of the Bulldogs Football Club. Tom, since 2006, you've been the president of the footy club. You've played in every grand final. Tell us, do you still get a little bit nervous watching?
Michael, you'd have to be... You have to be nervous in these sort of games. I mean, there's a bit of anxiety coming into any grand final. Doesn't matter whether it's a league grand final or an under-13. So I'm sure today's no different.
A remarkable statistic. The Bulldogs have played in every grand final, 11 in a row. Tell us, what's the reasons for that? What are the key factors behind it?
Well, Michael, some years ago, the board decided to make a change in many respects, and fundamentally, there's been a plan, a blueprint that's been put in place, and our job is to replicate that blueprint. And look, we're fortunate enough to be able to do it. It doesn't guarantee you success, but it gives you the opportunity to participate in games like this.
Roy Laird's on track to win his 7th premiership as a coach. Tell us about his contribution to the Central Districts Football Club.
Well, there's one word that comes to my mind. It's massive, absolutely massive. From where Roy has been with our footy club as a reserves coach to now being our league coach and being accredited by his peers as the Coach of the Year in 2010 gives him a lot of credit.
Thanks very much for joining us, Tom Zorich. All the best today. And in a final word, who will win the game and the Jack Odie medal?
Well, it's going to be a close game. I think Norwood, a formidable opponent, and I'd like to think that we'd be somewhere between 1 and 10 winning the game. And the Jack Odie medalist, I think James Boyd would be the hot tip for today's game.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
James Boyd, Tom Zorich's tip, and there's Roy Laird. Now, Brent, I don't think it's unfair in saying that when he took over the job at the start of 03 from Alistair Clarkson, a few people probably thought, was he the right man?
Certainly was. You know, they wasn't really sure whether he was going to cut the mustard.
Yep.
But boy, hasn't he cut the mustard ever since.
He has been absolutely magnificent there, and he obviously had success with the reserve, so they knew that he was going to do a pretty reasonable job.
Very staunch club man, and that's probably what he brought to the table, his ability to embrace the club, knew what the club cultures were, knew how to drive the club forward, and really been hanging on to it ever since.
We also heard Tom Zorich, the president, talk about a blueprint. Now, we know that the Dogs got beaten a couple of times in grand finals in the 90s by the Magpies, and they sat down and said, that's the club I want to be like. And boy, not only do they like them, they've probably certainly this time exceeded them.
Certainly haven't, if not gone past them over the last decade or so, and they've really taken that on. And what is really good is you actually watch down through their grades, their reserves grade, their under-18s grade. They play exactly the same football, so it's really easy for their developing players to come up into structures and fit straight into Roy Laird's structures.
A fantastic culture they have developed. Alan Stewart also a big part of getting that into place along with Clarkson there. We're going to head down now. Lots of breeze around Footy Park. You might see the flags have been up and about. Chris Kendall, you've got the coin toss. What's happening down there?
Look, for starters, there is a massive breeze down here. It's probably about a 3 to 4 goal win, so it's going to be a huge advantage, you would have to say, there for whichever team does happen to win the toss. Joining us here to do the toss is Helena and Max Karantonis. Now, Helena is part of the SANFL Next Step program. There are 300 kids in the program. Helena is the only girl as part of it, so we may see her running around AAMI Stadium in future years.
Okay, really high. Ready? Yeah, we've got a coin. There you go.
So just waiting here for the coin to arrive. You would have thought with all of us down here, there'd be a bit of money floating around. Helena gives us the coin toss. And Paul Thomas has won the toss for the Bulldogs, and he'll be kicking to the southern end of the ground with about a 3 to 4 goal wind.
Well, a massive breeze, and we know that in that second semi, that breeze certainly, well, they got off to a great start, the Dogs. They went against the breeze, but they did get that. So that at their backs is going to be really important sticks.
Well, Norwood need to be in front in the first quarter, but with the breeze at Central's back, who knows? Absolutely.
Now, McGarry medal time. You won it in 93 back at the Roosters. This year it was another Rooster in James Allen.
Look at James Allen, the 2010 McGarry medal. I was just going to say the 93. That was when I won it. That's back with the horse and cart. And as we see, James comes up to the podium to take his medal from Rod Pace. I was lucky enough to get it from Max Bashew. It's a little bit shorter, get it around my neck.
Would have been.
But yeah, great effort from Allen to go back to back with his McGarry medal.
Jimmy Allen now just getting his shoulder fixed in Melbourne. He's had to have some surgery, had to put the shoulder surgery off so he could get to the McGarry medal. So a great effort, 4 years in the comp, an absolute premier elite midfielder. Now at home, if you're sitting back watching the SANFL Grand Final, you might want to get up off your chair and join in. It's national anthem time, doing the honours of Brighton Secondary College.
Rejoice,
Thank you very much, boys. Looking down here for some of the team news at the moment. For the Redlegs, there's always going to be a tough selection decision, you would have to say, along the way. Mitchell Grigg is the unlucky player that's going to be dropping out of the lineup from last week. Coming in is Toby Shields. Now, Josh Donoghue was part of that mix, but unfortunately he just hasn't come up there with the leg, so Shields gets a go to come in there. He's the sort of player that can play at both ends of the ground, boys, so we know that he'll get a chance to really shine on the big stage, and Sam Rowe, it looks like he's going to do a lot of the ruck work all day against Buckets McKenzie.
And Chris for Centrals, Corey Reichert and Luke Barnby were included in the squad, which defeated Norwood 2 weeks ago in the second semi-final. However, they will not take their place in the side, so the team will remain unchanged. And a combination to watch out for is Buckets McKenzie and also Sutherland. If those two players can exert the same level of influence which they did 2 weeks ago, then Centrals will go a long way to winning their 9th premiership in 11 seasons.
Well, there they are, the Bulldogs just getting ready. We talked about 9 premierships in 11 seasons. That's what they're aiming for. It's never been done before, Brenton.
Well, I suspect it's going to be done today. We're going to witness.
You reckon?
I think so, yeah. Look, I just like the way they go about their business. They've got some real strong structures.
Yep.
That's not to say Norwood aren't out of the contest. I think it will be a real red-hot contest, especially early. I think Centrals have prided themselves on smashing into the contest fairly aggressively early, and Norwood need to match that and match it really strongly in the first quarter.
The record between these two sides has been very, very tight over the last 7 games. Not much has separated them. The biggest margin was 18 points. That was in the second semi. Before that, the biggest margin of the 6 games was only 8 points. Jason McKenzie has been enormous for the Dogs. How does Nathan Bassett combat him?
Look, what when I spoke to Bassett walking in the ground, I said, mate, you've got to employ a third jumper.
Yep.
Get a third jumper happening, get the ball into the clear, see if you can run. Had a smirk on his face. I'm wondering whether he's going to do it.
He may have a plan for us, Nathan Bassett. Let's get into it. The 2010 SANFL Grand Final. Here's the first quarter with Michael Maney.
Thank you, Mark Soderstrom. What a game in store we have. Umpires Williams, Filler and Howson. It'll be a beauty. Ball aloft. We're almost ready for the grand final. Bit of bumping and shoving. Campbell and James Gowans. Buckets McKenzie. He'll be so important. Rowe in the ruck. Jenner knocked it down. Cruelly missed last year's grand final. Kyle Jenner played 19 games. Got the cut. And he has made a grand final again. A lot of weight on that man's shoulders, number 16, Sam Rowe.
Certainly is, and already we're seeing massive numbers around the ball. It's being slow to restart it here. Norwood want quick action out of here.
The Doggies winning the toss, kicking to right of screen. McKenzie and Bound. Bound's going to have to play a role today. Threw himself forward. No free kick. Another stoppage as they sort themselves out in the 2010 grand final.
This will really suit Centrals, I reckon. They want it tight, they want it hard early, they want their senior bodies, their bigger, stronger bodies thumping into the contest.
Ball knocked. Still no clear possession. Piopolo thought he might have won a free kick. We'll get another stoppage. It's down to the Norwood bench, Chris Kendall.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Toby Schultz sitting on the pine to start the game. Tim Weatherall, the 2002 McGarry medalist in his final game of SANFL, and joining them on the pine is Dean Turlick.
Toby Schultz in today for Mitchell Grigg. He'll be pumped up. Big Buckets McKenzie, he's always pumped up against his side. Just tries to get a little kick out. He finally gets it out into the forward line. They get into the 50 over the head of Chris Gowans. And the tackle wrapped up there. Trying to hail the cab, but nothing. We're going to get it bounced down, Brenton.
Yeah, certainly. Look, all over the ground. I'm looking all over the ground. There's one-on-one contest all over the ground.
Eddie Sansbury started last year's grand final red hot with the first 2 goals. Hughes just trying to get the ball out. Central come around, the little magician. Callanan gets his kick and spots up a man who loves playing on the big stage here in Chrissy Gowans, 2-time Jack Odie.
Interesting here as we see the replay here of just spots up Chris Gowans beautifully. The interesting, we've been going some 2 or 3 minutes now, not a free kick's been paid.
Chris Gowans looking to join Jeff Motley on 9 premierships today. From just inside 50, gives it a ride with a breeze at his back. Comes around, it's a goal! Off to a fantastic start, the Dogs. First one on the board. Chrissy Gowans pumped up.
Certainly is pumped up, and players come from everywhere to celebrate, so you know that there's a meaning for them for this particular side. They love to get to the big stage as we see the replay here. The third jumper come from Central, but they're able to clear the contest. Eddie Stansbury was strong over the top of the contest, and then Cullinan You like the ball in this bloke's hands every time. Just spots up Chris beautifully. Puts it out onto the left-hand goalpost with a northeasterly breeze blowing strongly and just drifts back nicely.
Chris Gowans gets the scoring underway in the 2010 Grand Final. Who said they're finished? Who said they're too slow? They've got plenty of finals experience. Up they go, Rowe. Mackenzie roves his own ball. Still no free kick. The umpire letting it go. And let's have a look at the Central's bench, Michael Philippo.
You can see Braden O'Hara sitting on the right of screen. Jason Sutherland, could he play in his second premiership in the space of 3 weeks? And also Scott Dutchke.
Booted 5 for Berry, did Jason Sutherland. Here's Zorzi, scratching it inside 50, rolling ball. Dorr threw himself forward, he started up forward. Shenton spins, in goes Laurie. Shenton across the body, it's curling back. The legs have got one. Cam Shenton. Have a listen to that crowd.
Yeah, I reckon there's a few Norwood supporters in the house today.
So there might be.
There's a few of them out here today, and rightly so. They haven't been here since '97, so they want to be out in force as we see the replay. Zorzi just hacked the ball forward. That's what you need to do. And Shenton just works really hard to lay the first initial tackle, follows the ball up, gets the ball, screws it back over his left shoulder nicely, and that's a real good settler for the Norwood Football Club. To get on the board early is a really important thing.
Also a settler for Cam Shenton in just his 10th game. Missed a couple last week out in the fall, and the week before also missed 2 in that first quarter. He'll be feeling so much better about that. Row up against Mackenzie. He's going to follow them all day and just try and negate the big man from Kapunda. Central, another clearance here, getting out over the head of Ryan Williams. The ball being led out there and wrapped up into a tackle right on the paint of 50 for the Dogs. Scores tied very early on in this first term, and this is what Norwood would have wanted, Brenton.
Absolutely. Look, we're going 4.5 minutes here, and still there hasn't been a free kick. I'm going to be riding the umpires to see if they can make the decision right.
Right into him. Here come the Dogs through James Boyd on the left foot, squeezes the kick straight across the front of the goals, and we're going to get a throw in. James Boyd, terrific in the second semi-final, able to just bring the ball out of the centre continuously with Callan, and here he is here. Just that little kick with the breeze. Comes back to McGuinness. Handball, Norwood just looking to relieve a little bit of pressure out of defence. Trotter to lower. The skipper has his kick smothered, and the ball's going to be seen over the line by big Stewie Bound. Geez, will be much better for the run. Look, just a little bit rusty. Blew the cobwebs out in last week's preliminary final. Didn't even think he was going to play for the rest of this year. Great to see Stewie Bound back in.
One thing they really do pride themselves, Central, is the 1%ers, the little things. And Havelberg's smother there created the ball to stay inside their forward or their front half of the oval.
Big slap down to Hughes. Just conceding a little bit of ground here, the Redlegs, and Puopolo to Weatherall, the veteran, and the kick under pressure from the skipper in Gallagher, and Chris Gowans lets him know all about that. Boyd over the top. Gunston just having a look there, out on the full, under pressure. Havelberg just throws the tackle down onto the ground. They mean business today, the Doggies. Timmy Weatherall, game number 311. You know him well, Sticks. You coached in North Flag in 02.
Yeah, look, he'll be excited about it. Once again, Havelberg gets involved in the action, lays some forward pressure in terms of some tackling pressure, and has been really good so far.
Big pumper Sutherland up against Brady Dorr. Norwood with the third jumper. Brenton talked about that before the game. Puopolo gets around one, tries to give the handball. Hughes with the red wheels. Comes out the members' side of the wing. Shenton leading the run for the ball. He's got Laurie on his tail. Crowd wants ball. It's a good crowd in here. And they get it free kick heading to Dean Turlick.
Turlick, they need a lot from him today. Short kick. Oh, it's poor. Read beautifully by Boyd. I don't think he took the mark, but he got a free kick against Campbell. And you'll earn him in a grand final. And James Boyd's realised he's playing in one right now.
Just got him in the solar plexus there. He's a strong unit, Campbell, and he doesn't mind making his presence felt.
Punched away by Dygan. Off the ground, Shell. Floats close to the line, and it'll be a boundary throw-in. Beautiful kick from Chris Gowans. Good crowd in and making plenty of noise. Beautiful kick from Chris Gowans. Roy Laird with the stubble on the left. The coach of the Bulldogs. Third man up, Hayes. Trotter did it well. Dygan, handball of sorts to Fuller. Fuller away to Lower. Back to Fuller. Fumble. Can't afford to do that. Doggies will make you pay. Williams hacked it forward. McGuinness might have to go here. He does. Sainsbury can't get it. Fuller's also there. Sainsbury, the tap, comes back to Nash. Nash's high kick. Jenner getting back. Takes the mark. He had the sit on Giorgio, and Kyle Jenner lines up for the Bulldogs' second in the 2010 Grand Final.
What you can't do, Michael, is fumble the ball, and Fuller fumbled the ball, had McGuinness on his right-hand side running into space. McGuinness overcommitted. Central's won the ball, comes back into a free opponent.
Kyle Jenner, shot for goal. He's there. And the Bulldogs get their second. Kyle Jenner gets goal number 6, playing in his first Grand Final ever.
As we see here, there's a bit of a fumble before that, I think it was. Chris Gowans and Eddie Stanley fought hard to get the contest. Clever little hands by Chris Gowans, able to push the ball forward, and Jenner just ran into a bit of space there.
Boys, you've talked about the noise before. It is absolutely thunderous down here at ground level. One of the loudest grand finals I've heard in about 10 years or so, just as Toby Shields is about to come on for his first run for Norwood.
Kyle Jenner, the hard luck story of last year's grand final, got dropped when Callanan and Hayes come in. So Central boys keen to get him a medal. One of 5 of the Bulldogs today who don't have a premiership medal. Eve Sibanala back into the side. Been terrific coming back in for finals. And he concedes some ground. Now, we saw a lot of this, Brendan Phillips, in the second semi where they go on deliberately. Now, speaking to Shane Harris, the umpire's director, earlier today, he said, we will never, ever play deliberate, even if it is deliberate, as long as the ball goes forward.
Yeah, look, I think that is a deliberate ploy. They know they got big, strong ruckmen, so they use it as a ploy to get the ball out of bounds so they can restart at the stoppages.
Big, strong ruckman in Sutherland having to do some work with the third jumper in Lower going over the top. We talked about the ploy. How are they going to deal with these big bodies of Sutherland and also Jason McKenzie? Little Timmy Weatherall. Oh, they're just trying to get in him. Hazy's got that hard rugby body. Tries to give him a little crunch, remind him it's the last game. You're going to finish pretty sore and tired. Free kick. Richard Williams, grand final number 11 for him, just imposing himself on the contest early. Love seeing the umpires impose themselves on the contest.
Yeah. Look, I'd just like to see them let the game unfold as they want, let the players play the game. I think that's their mantra. So let the players play the game. Probably Timmy got a little bit frustrated in terms of he got sat on his backside here. As we see a stoppage, they haven't realised it's got to come back to Boyd's kick. So the ball will now come back, relay back to Boyd. But Timmy got a little bit frustrated, sat on his backside, so he went hard at the contest and over-committed on it.
Jimmy Boyd finds Eddie Sainsbury. Roy Laird said this week he reckons Sainsbury's just ready to burst. 4 goals in last year's grand final, of course 5 in that grand final against Westies in 03. Pumps it long up towards the top of the square. Looking in the direction of and finding a great catch there in Daniel Shell. Beautiful work by Shell. Just waited, a lot of experience. Norwood had the chance to go back and man up, but the kick came up towards Shell and took it truly.
Yeah, real good kick from Stansbury. He hit it to the preferred side of Shell. Shell just come onto it nicely. Took a nice chest mark. In a difficult pocket here, but with that nor'easterly blowing, I reckon the ball's going to come back on it.
Normally the impossible pocket, the impossible angle. Daniel Shell just having a kick here, generally a lovely kick. 2-time Ken Farmer medalist, squeezes it almost against the breeze. Looked like it was going one way, curved it back with a little bit of magic. Daniel Shell gets one. Central get their third. What a start for the Dogs.
Certainly is a start, as we see a bit of a biff and bumper going on down here, and there's some willing bodies getting thrown around at the moment. Here, there's some,
love to see.
Yeah, it is grand finals. She's played for keeps here, and there's no holds bar. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Fantastic goal from Shell. Critical. So, we go back to the start of the fight here because I'm really keen to see how the fight started here. Shell's just got in the way of Gallagher. Well, Gallagher got in the way of Shell. There's a bit of bumping. They knew that they wanted to get into the captain. Then Kieran McGuinness comes in and backs up his skipper.
You've got to love that sort of stuff. We haven't seen much of that biffo, have we? We haven't seen much even pushing and shoving in the final series. They've saved it all to the best game.
Bring back the biff, isn't that what they say?
That's what they say. Rowe, you just think that Norwood need to respond here. They responded to the first goal pretty quickly, and the Doggies have got 2 in a row.
I think you hit it on the mark there, Michael, when you said Norwood need to respond. What they need to respond is they need to respond on attacking the ball now, not the body. Go hard at the football and let Centrals attack the body.
Rowe and McKenzie. You get the feeling Rowe's going to get there all day. Nash just hacked it forward. Dygan dropped what he probably should have taken. In goes Dutchke, rolls, feeds it out. Jonas was good. Away to Hughes. Hughes, a handball, risky stuff to McGuinness. He got it away okay. Here's Dutchke. He is a man possessed. The tackle hits him to ground. The umpire said, I'll ball it up. Oh, I tell you what, if you've got a bit of a faint flicker in the heart, don't bother going out there if you're a player.
Look, that's fantastic umpiring. Dutchke threw his head back, trying to draw the free kick, but it was a good tackle, ball and all tight tackle, if we're going to go with the rugby terminology so far.
Terrific bit of stuff. Rowe and McKenzie. McKenzie almost got it. Rowe got the kick away. Flying ball. Here comes Spur. Haven't called him so far. It hasn't been in the doggies' back half for a while. Spur's kick doesn't hit the target, and it's out of bounds on the fall, and the skipper, James Gallagher, will take the kick.
Game number 199. Jimmy Gallagher finds Zorzi. Norwood just need a little bit of patience here. Central trying to get their numbers back. Lead coming from lower in the centre of the ground. He's not going to go. He's going to go down the line, Zorzi. A little bit of safety. Schultz against Spur, over the top with the fly. Here's Thomas. And Sammy Rowe just throws the big body down. Tries to bring the ball out of bounds, and Gary Feeler. See a bit of action there. Sammy Rowe putting the knees in. Watch out. Gary Feeler says no, it didn't go over the line.
What I like about that contest there, Central's back into the contest. You could really tell there's a steeliness to bring the ball forward so it becomes readable.
Yep. Jay Nash just watching Timmy Weatherall. Buckets over the top. Free kick goes to Sammy Rowe. His contest is going to be pivotal in deciding on this game here. Sammy Rowe versus Jason McKenzie. Looking towards Matt Davis. Comes out to Schultz. Little give. Fumble. Costly for Phillips. Crucial little Phillip. And we're going to get another bounce down in the 50.
That's what I talked about earlier, Sotis. You've got to take your chances in grand finals. You've got to be clean with the contest, clean with the take. Phillips was away if he got through there.
We've seen how dangerous Phillips can be here on this bigger ground. Zorzi out to Rowe. Curls it around on the right boot. Looking up for Turlick over the back. Goodrum, we saw he did a wonderful job in last year's grand final on Jack Trengove, and he's got a big job today on Dean Turlick.
The skipper, Thomas, to Gunston. Gunston, his first real clear possession. Then a kick. Oh, getting in the gap was Fuller. Good contest. Then dives on it and draws the free kick. That is hard and tough in and under stuff.
You have to go low and tough, and when you go low and tough, someone usually drops into your back, so well done.
Fuller. Here he is. The redhead kicks it high. It dropped short. Spur was there. All the Norwood players back. The doggies read it so well. Spur goes to Thomas. Thomas has got another man ahead of him. Callanan just come off the interchange bench, did he? In comes Thomas. Poor kick. It'll be okay to Dutchke. Thought he might have dropped it and threw it, according to the umpire. So it's against Dutchke.
We've got Eve Subanala down in the back play here. He's in a bit of problem here. We'll find that your game might have to stop here if they call for the stretcher.
Schultz goes into the pocket. Turlick can't get there, but there's Eve Subanala in the box. And he is in Gaga land at the moment, by the look of it.
It all come about a contest there at centre-half back for him, where three Central players dropped off their bloke and come to the contest, and he copped one here. I reckon it's friendly fire. Yes. Certainly was.
Big Sutherland. Speaking of, knocked it down. Opportunity, Callanan. Classy player. Interesting left foot kick into space. Sansbury overran it. Jonas, I've been impressed with his final series. Here's Hughes, got a runner in Gallagher, gives it back to last week's hero in Dygan. Dygan's kick is not his best work, but Davis hooked it in with the right duke. That is a very good mark. He made something out of that kick that looked like it was going horribly wrong, and that man has got the wobbly boots on.
Certainly has got the wobbly boots on, but what it did do is it released the Norwood player forward. Centrals are very busily trying to readjust their back six. As we have a look at the injury again, Sutherland just got him up the middle and just sat him on his preferably large backside.
Against the breeze, He goes in short. Oh, it's not a good kick. He knew he was out of his distance against the breeze. Trotter has got some work to do. Feeds it to Fuller. He's about to get nabbed. Ball jars free. Fuller to lower. Lower the fumble. In goes Hughes. Hughes away. Dygan crashes through. Well played, Nick Dygan, but lost run of it. Football. And a free kick will go to Dutchke for the Dogs.
Scotty Dutchke dropped during the year, worked his way back into the side at just the right time. Goes long, unleashes into the 50, looking for Havelberg, warned closely by Giorgio. Through the hands of Dorr. Puopolo butters up. This is lower in the centre of the ground. Coming out, he's got a runner here, and it's his skipper, James Gallagher. Has a look up. Central just trying to work out their matchups now that their big centre-half back, Yves Sibonala, has gone off the ground. Crunched, he looks like he's in all sorts of trouble. The kick goes out to Stewie Bound, and a little bit too much on it.
I'd hate to go back to 2002, but geez, it looks similar to me. Hicksy went down, big bone defence, clean him up. Hicksy went down, they had to readjust their back six, and we got on top of the contest after that point in time.
Voice of Brenton Phillips, who coached Sturt to that premiership in 02 against the Bulldogs. Big
well, you're right about that, Soda. He certainly did cop the wrath there, Yves Sibonala. In the hands of the trainers, has been taken down into the dugout. Looked like he'd been cut up the middle, struggling for air, but also a bit of consciousness as well. You saw him get back up onto his feet after a little while, but he's certainly in a bit of trouble.
Michael Philippou down the boundary, former Eagle. This comes out to the captain of the Dogs, Thomas Havelberg, just wrestling with Giorgio again. Hughes coming through, gives it somehow to Giorgio, comes back out and wrapped up into the tackle is Nick Dygan, head pushed into the turf.
I guess who? Chris Cowans, and that's what he's good at. Look, it's just a great tackle. That is a strong, committed tackle. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
The varial ping pong. Sutherland throwing himself into the contest. I think there are a couple of doubts about whether Sutherland was really going to make it at this level, but he started this game off pretty well.
They're pushing Gunston back behind the ball now to try to loosen up Shell.
Thomas, third man up. Boyd, quick hands. O'Hara, who started on the bench. Wobbly kick to the pocket. Sansbury can't take the mark. Puopolo got one high, no free kick. McGuinness pretty well for the legs. The kick is pretty good and finds his skipper at half-back, James Gallagher. What's he got ahead of him? The Doggies have got back. They're zoning off. Gallagher's just going to go for a high kick. Stewie Bounds the target. He's got a few to beat. And Sutherland got in front, didn't take the mark. Thought he might have been paid it. Bound, scrubby old kick forward. Here's Shenton. Shenton with a deft touch, but taken by Laurie. Backed his judgment to Gowans. James to Chris. Away go the Bulldogs. Inside 50. The kick is a piercing one. No one can take the mark. Opportunity for Callanan. He can't get there. Ball's flicked out. Giorgio got it from Trotter, and he's nailed. And the ball hits the ground. In fact, it's Dygan laying on the footy, and the umpire said, "You laid on it too long, Nick Dygan." And that's about the 10th one we've seen this whole season.
Yeah, look, I'll be interested to see this on the replay, but it looked to me from the naked eye that Ian Callanan was just laying on top of him and not allowing the ball to come out of the contest. As we see Dygan go to the ground, just like he didn't make an effort to get rid of it. That's why he got pinged for.
I think the little wingnut might have had his hand in there trying to box that ball back in underneath.
He certainly did, but once you go to the ground, you've got to make a genuine attempt to loosen the ball from the contest, and he wasn't doing that.
Ian Callanan from the Clarence Football Club in Tasmania, a Liston Trophy winner in the VFL, played with the Tassie Devils, multiple premiership player here from the paint of 50. Gets a good piece of it. He doesn't miss many. They're out to a 3-goal lead, the Bulldogs. Callanan gets his first, and the Doggies crowd go wild.
In all my wrap-ups, I've been saying that Norwood need to be in front at quarter time. Now, once I say that, look, Hansels are going with a fair breeze. As we see the replay here, Dygan takes control of the ball here. He's got his right arm free, and he just won't release the ball. I know that Centrals are getting out to the lead, but there's just something in Norwood that suggests at this point in time they're not out of the contest yet.
Boys, the breeze is still very strong to the right of screen, but what's making it hard for the players is swinging from the top corner to the bottom corner of the screen, so it's really swirling around for them, something that both teams need to be aware of.
Ball comes out towards Trotter. Trotter now, bouncing ball. Thomas away to Williams. Away to James Gowans. Jay Nash. Nash kicks long, and it just drifts through for a behind. And the Bulldogs lead by 19 points.
And I'll put the mockers on side once I say that Norwood have been competitive. Central's starting to get on top of the ball movement now, just getting the ball out of that forward or out of the centre square and pushing the ball forward.
Boy, 19-point lead. The kick in. Big pack of players. Doing the roving is Rowe. Shell's there. In goes Williams. Zorzi. Shell. Nice little handball to Mackenzie. He couldn't handle it. Got it now. And then the line is the winner. Boundary throw-in.
We've seen a fairly fierce contest at this point in time, and it's been really good. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to cope with the heat. It's a little bit warmer than what we've been used to. It's going to be interesting to see how the day unfolds.
Important period of time for the Norwood Football Club. They trail by 19 points, and the Bulldogs normally with that pressure first quarter, they hit in hard. There's Tim Weatherall, his last game of the SANFL football. Debuted as a 17-year-old. Amazing career. Here's Jenner looking for his first flag. Caught. Brilliant tackle by Trotter, who was limping around in the prelim final. David Trotter went off at one particular point in time. Wins the free kick. Risky business to Puopolo. Puopolo standing the mark was Callan.
Certainly was standing the mark. They're nice and strong. Norwood are just taking their time. It's a slow build up here. They're just trying to spread Centrals away from the contest here, make them run and use a little bit of energy.
Redlegs by 19 points, just trying to work the ball into attack. Get something back before we get quarter time as we sneak into time on. Shell has been dropped back. Sibanala off. The safety always, Daniel Shell going back. We've seen it many times with the Dogs. Heath Laurie under a bit of pressure from Campbell. Dogs go on through Spur. Goodrum. Spur with the old 1-2. He's got Phillips on his hammer, gets it out just in time. But the kick under pressure drops into Matthew Davis. Kieran McGuinness under intense pressure in the second semi-final, playing deep on Havelberg. Giorgio today with Havelberg. It's Giorgio now. Kick not to the advantage. Gunston also seems to have gone back to with Sibanala off the ground. Weatherall, little give. Long kick, looking for Rowe across and takes the mark. And the Bulldogs not happy there. Plenty being said to Jason McKenzie and Shell, but a terrific mark by Sammy Rowe.
Certainly was a terrific mark here, as we see here the ball come in. It was knocked down. Spur was trying to take it. The ball was knocked down, and Rowe actually comes to the contest. Shell just didn't commit and come to the front of the contest. He wasn't happy with Buckets McKenzie because he didn't keep his bloke out of the contest.
Huge day for Sammy Rowe, following Jason McKenzie around the ground. If he can kick this goal, it's going to make McKenzie more accountable. From 30, on the angle, just sits back, rides with it. Misses, it's a point.
Certainly. Look, that all started from a slow build-up down back. They wanted to make it slow, and they wanted to spread Centrals, which they did. They wanted Centrals to actually run and carry the ground so that they can later come at them in the later part of this game.
And there's one thing I noted too, you don't see too often the Doggies players having a crack at each other out there. They normally keep their cool. Long kick out of full-back. McKenzie can't hold on to it. Ball bashed forward, taken by Trotter. Away to McGuinness. He's got a man in short in Weatherall. Weatherall gives it back to McGuinness. He's still outside 50, wants that left boot. He gets it now. McKenzie got a hand on it. Didn't go 15, it was touched. Campbell taken to ground by O'Hara, and a ball up.
As we look at it here, the kick coming forward just didn't travel the required distance. What Centrals do is they actually point and spread and do all sorts of things down in their back six and try to get the best matchup, and they're working that feverishly at the moment.
Weatherall's dinky kick, and Goodrum takes it to the line for a boundary throw-in. We've ticked into the 26.5-minute mark of the first term, and the Bulldogs lead the contest.
Sticks obviously with Eve Sibanala off the ground. How much is this going to hurt them?
Certainly is. They're unbalances. That's what they have happened to them.
Nick Lower with the extra jumper. The third man over the top. Cleared by Thomas. Defensive work. And here go the Dogs through Jenner. And here's the foot race on. We're going man for man. Havelberg off the ground. Giorgio's going to win this one. Well done. Terrific battle by the human blanket. And there's a siren to end the first quarter, and it's all the Dogs 4-1-25. The super start. We talked about how important that start was, and they've got a terrific lead. 4-1-25. Norwood 1-1-7.
What a fantastic opening quarter to the 2010 Grand Final. Central's really got out of the blocks, and we knew that they were going to do that. They come pretty hard at Norwood, and they made some real physical and strong contests around the stoppages. Norwood soaked it up, I thought. In that middle part of the contest, Norwood soaked it up and able to spread and run and carry the ball. That's what they wanted to do. Now they've got that. They've actually got Norwood on the back foot, so to speak, a little bit, but they're not in front on the scoreboard. It's interesting to see how it pans out from here.
Okay, unlike that second quarter, we know that the second semi-final, rather, when the Dogs had that lead, they actually kicked against the breeze, and they were really good. This time they've actually kicked with it, so it gives Norwood a really good chance here, doesn't it?
Look for Shell to push down back and free himself up as that man that goes down back and cuts balls off. He did that really well in the preliminary final when I thought, in the second semi-final when I thought the game was on the line. He pushed behind the ball and was very smart.
Chris Gowan's an absolute final specialist. He made a sensational start to this match.
Certainly did. What I liked about Chris is his ability to tackle and do all the one percenters. He laid a couple of tackles, and this was this was an old head on an old body, so to speak. Just knew where to put it. He's played on Amy Stadium in October a lot of times, knew where the grease was coming from, and just hit it beautifully.
Sam Rowe running with Jason McKenzie all game. They're going to sacrifice Sam Rowe a little bit, but he's still getting a shot on goal.
He certainly is. He's making buckets. Think about him anyway. Where is he coming? Where's he going to? And that way we saw, and I think Michael Maney called it, that there was a few words spoken to buckets because he wasn't in the right spot. That's what they did. They pulled him out of that zone.
And Jay Nash, too, coming to the side a couple of weeks ago after his AFL duties. Cole Jenner, this is a terrific story. This man missed out on playing in a grand final last year, and they're going to want to win one for him.
They make him hungry out there, Doggy Land, don't they? That's what they do. They make him hungry, as we see Shell just take a nice mark here and finishes a pretty critical goal. And then we saw a bit of Bumpo Biffo go on then for a minute.
We did. Daniel Shell probably spend some time in defence now, I reckon, with Sibanala coming off the ground. But look, all in all, as you said, Brendan, probably a reasonable start for Norwood, even though they are down.
Certainly, I thought it was a reasonable start. I thought they were really strong at the contest. They weren't going to go away, and that's what they were like about them.
Well, let's have a look at the goal kickers from this first quarter. Callan and Jenner, Chris Gowan, Shell, all singles. And Cam Shenton, who's been a little inaccurate come the finals. Great for him to actually get a side to get a little bit of confidence up.
Certainly was, and I thought that one early in the contest really settled him down.
Chrissy Gowans, we mentioned him before. He kicked that first goal there, and he is a finalist specialist. He has played in 8 of these. He wants his 9th today.
Well, he knows what it's all about. He knows where the podium is and works really hard. And that's what he does. He actually works hard in the first half of the game and then lets the game unfold. And that's how he works hard. He does all of them little one-percenters.
We'll have a look there. They're going along very nicely, the Dogs. But Norwood perhaps still in it, we think, because they do have the breeze this quarter, Sticks. And the man, the rookie coach who's in charge there, Nathan Bassett. Let's hear what he's got to say at the break.
In our direction, same as in defence. We had some good opportunities to just get it out. And we didn't. We went back into traffic. Okay, get the thing moving in our direction. As the game continues, the game will open up. Okay, Flipper, we need you. Fumble that ball behind your man. You make Alex Giorgio chase all that way back because you're bloody behind. You need to lift. You understand? We need you too, Dino. We need the forward line. Aerial pressure at the moment isn't good enough. Muffa trailing in down there, and then Dino, you need to bring that ball to ground. But boys, overall, that's pretty good. Okay, we fumbled a few balls, but it's been pretty good. Now we play the same game. Same game, okay, but it'll be easier to take those opportunities when we get them. So Matty will have that shot for goals. Rowie will kick that goal. We'll get it moving forward, okay, boys? Go see your areas.
Yeah, thanks, boys. As you heard there from Nathan Bassett, he's really applied the blowtorch to some of the players there. Simon Phillips, Dean Turlick in particular, really singled them out, saying he needs a forward line, he needs a quick forward line, he needs a reactive forward line as quick as possible, really putting the blowtorch on these guys to get into the game. The other point he noted was that they are getting killed in the contested situations, and he's really applied a lot of pressure to them to get numbers around the ball and start really using their hard tackling pressure that they've been known throughout the final series. Otherwise, he was pretty happy with the work against the wind, which, as we've mentioned, really is swirling a lot down here, but he really does need a lot more perhaps out of that second level, and certainly needs a lot more out of the likes of Phillips and Turlick and some of their smalls. Over to Michael Phillippo at the Central District Huddle.
Well, the Bulldogs coach Roy Laird was pleased with the output of the players in the first quarter. He wants he wants the players to protect Boyd. Boyd's had an outstanding first quarter, and he knows that Norwood are targeting that player, as well as Sibonala. He went up to Sibonala and eyeballed him, asked him whether he was okay. We saw him sustain that heavy knock in the first quarter, and he will start the quarter at centre half back. In addition to this, he wants the team to stand strong this quarter, man on man into the breeze.
They are going to have to work very hard into the breeze. Just look at that first quarter. Sticks.
Nothing really stands. Probably the one that stands out to me is the inside 50s. And look, Centrals are going with a fairly strong breeze. You expect that to happen. But the rest of the stats, probably the handballs. Norwood are handballing a lot more. Centrals, on the other hand, they're old heads at it. They just want to kick the ball forward, get some ground, get some meterage, and play the game up their end of the oval.
Roy Laird, there he is, just eyeballing Yves Sibonala. Have you got it in you, Evil? He wants to know, will he stand up?
I wouldn't know which one was most scariest. Both of them eyeballing each other.
He's a big unit, Yves Sibonala, and there's a big unit too. Roy Laird looking for another flag for him. Let's head down to Michael Maney for the start of the second term.
It's like Roy's been in for a polish during the week. It's a polish every grand final. I'll tell you what, there's plenty inside that noggin. He's a good coach.
Plenty of footy knowledge.
Plenty of that, Sodas. Big buckets, McKenzie and Rowe. They'll go at it again. Loose ball, O'Hara. Trotter. Centre clearance important. Zorzi got it to Lower. Lower to the run of Puopolo. He can break the lines. How's the kick? Over the back. Goodrum couldn't take the mark. Spilt it. Tracks it now. Turlick in there. Got a bit of a rev up from Nathan Bassett at quarter time. Here it comes, Bound. That's what he's good for, that bullocking work. Davis, Puopolo, kick, almost smothered. Went about 1.5 meters. Umpire Richard Williams gets the whistle to the mouth and calls for the footy.
That's a good start from Norwood to push the ball inside their forward 50. Goodrum just there's a fingertip got to the ball before it ricocheted off Goodrum's chest.
Couldn't quite get there. Jenner ends up with it from Callanan, and that won't be out of bounds deliberately if Mark Sodas from your mail from Shane Harris is correct.
No chance. He said, I don't care if they kick it directly to the line as long as it moves a centimetre forward, and that rule is going to change next year. Let's have a look at this.
You can't tell me that is not deliberate. There is no other intention in his mind.
Callanan, intention on his mind to knock it out of danger. He knocked it to the lap of Zorzi, who kicks long. Shenton has it knocked away. Here's Davis, left footer. It curls back for a goal. Oh, the dream start that Nathan Bassett would require. And Matty Davis has been a goal kicker this year for them. He's booted his 34th for the season.
Yeah, they're very good. Davis up forward. He's been exceptional. We see Zorzi just get it into the head of the square, create a contest up here. That's what Shenton did. And Davis just got his foot to it. Did he get it touched as it went through? We'll have another closer look from our cameraman here. Yeah, a bit hard to tell there. Centrals were really going up for it. They touched.
Well, you always do that as a defender.
Actually, you would.
You got to play your role.
Matty Davis kicked the winning goal against the Dogs back in round 11 of the parade. They got up by 3 points, the Leagues, that day. McKenzie sharked beautifully there by the skipper from the Redlegs in Gallagher. A big whack off the ground from Lower, swing and a miss. Over the top is Nash, and a free kick is going to go to Lower, always on the bottom of the pack. He's got a runner in Puopolo from defence. He's come down, tries to go back inboard, and he's got Zorzi, just tries to sell the pup to a pup. Back to Puopolo. Zorzi again, off the side of the boot. Is it going to fall the right way for them? Over the back of O'Hara, can't keep it to the front. Shenton, he's already kicked one, turns around on his right foot, into the square. Goodrum sticks the boot out, and it's another point.
Yeah, look, he did everything just to get that ball across the line. He knew it was danger zone there. Just wanted a rush of point as we see Goodrum and Turlick there just battled for the ball. Just didn't get the right bounce that Norwood were hoping for.
I think the good thing about it is that Shenton looks dangerous whenever he's near it. Zorzi's getting his hands on the footy, and that's a good thing for Norwood.
Correct.
High kick, Rowe, over the back. Here's Dygan. Handball might be a bit fierce for Trotter, and it is. An opportunity missed. That handball just coming firing out like a shot out of a gun. And Tim Weatherald about to re-enter the arena as Lower takes a break. He's been terrific with his handball. There's Tim. McKenzie, in effect, Ineffectual, taken by Rowe. Bouncing ball over the back. Bound, tries to hack it forward. There's Shenton. Oh, he's almost got it again. He goes after it. Callanan. Ball kicked off the ground. Oh, was that a handball from Jenner? It mightn't have been. Bouncing ball. This will test Sibanela. Bound might just crunch him if he can. Sibanela did okay. So too Bound. Ball in dispute. What a good piece of play in the grand final, just to will that ball forward. It dribbles out for a boundary throw-in.
Just want to go back and talk about that deliberate out of bounds. Now, I'm not saying about anything about Central. I think it's very smart. They've actually taken the letter of the law and applied it where they thought that they'll get an advantage. So well coached, Roy Laird.
Dogs fans will be happy to know Eve Sibanela back up and running. The legs are running in this play here. Phillips has got Thomas on him. It was a big battle a fortnight ago. It's a big battle again. Here comes Fuller with a kick, and he's got Davis in space. Matty Davis, an opportunity just to peg that a little bit closer. It's an 11-point ball game at the moment.
Exactly the same pocket we saw Daniel Shell kick the goal in the first quarter as they come out of the half-forward line, and Davis just drifted off behind his opponent there and got in behind him.
Matty Davis chance to get his second in just a few minutes into this second term. He's going to be right on 50 as he unloads with the breeze. Puts it out of the left-hand post, just wants it to crawl back in. Has it got there? Yes, it has. Matty Davis, 2 in a row.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. That's exactly the same as Daniel Shell. It come back exactly the same. I reckon it was millimetres over the line in terms of the score. It was just a beautiful kick. So he went to school on Daniel Shell's kick in the first quarter and just hit it beautifully. We see here, just gets his run up nice and right. Hits it hard on the left-hand post and it just comes back nicely. Just gets across the line.
Big Buckets went in and had the manicure during the week, and if he'd had the longer fingernails, he might have got their sticks, but he couldn't quite get there.
Manicure and the buff with Central so far.
Yes, it's all working well for them, apart from the fact they only lead by 5 points now. Opportunity for Boyd. Boyd's left footer is a wobbly ball. Schultz just come back on the ground, knocked it away. O'Hara off the ground. Shell couldn't snag it. Gallagher starting to have an influence. McGuinness stood up in the tackle. Dygan away to Schultz. Schultz calmly back to Zorzi. Zorzi a fumble. Has he got assistance? He has in the form of Trotter. Trotter kicks long. Over the back, Goodrum should get back and take the relieving mark for the Bulldogs. Williams is in the centre of the ground. He hasn't spotted him yet. If it has spotted him, he had a good run, but he goes short and finds O'Hara.
Took the option, took the sensible option. That was a tough kick to go back through the middle of the ground. Probably was on, but if he went and missed up the kick, you're away for a goal, Nord.
It's against that breeze too. Here's Sutherland, didn't take the mark. Lower, in hard, and the footy caught underneath, and umpire Richard Williams will call for a bounce. 5 points.
What I'm seeing at the moment, there's some nice little subtleties off the ball. Players aren't allowed to run. The tackles are held nice and strong, and the blocks are coming from everywhere.
Tim Weatherall gets over the shoulder ruling, number 4,762 in his career. And counting. Dygan in the back half. Assessing, Puopolo's got some run to half back, and the kick from Dygan is okay. Puopolo couldn't take the mark. The tackle came from Callanan. He got away and he keeps running. He breaks the lines over the top. That's why Puopolo's a good player, and he's copped one behind the play. And it may come back to a Central's player, does it?
Deliberate point here. James Gowan stopped Puopolo's run, stopped him dead. On my understanding of the rule, and I could be wrong here, is you play it down the ground. You actually give him a 50 metres, and we're seeing it right now as the umpire marches him back 50 metres. No, he's only gone 25, so I've messed that up.
Never been an umpire.
There it is there. Gowans comes back to Turlick, just tries to curl it around. We've seen some magic from Dean Turlick, and he loves it with the crowd. The Redlegs have hit the front.
Really, they're up and about the legs. There's a bit of biff going off. McGuinness is into it with, I think it's James Gowans or Chris Gowans. I can never tell with them two. But there's some fierce contest going off the ball. The umpires really need to be watching what goes on here. As we see, Puopolo hands the ball. James Gowans just stops him dead in his track. Always wanted to do that. Always wanted to give away a 50-metre or a 25-metre penalty to stop the contest. But Turlick was good enough. Turlick was sensational enough, had some composure about him to roll that ball through for a fantastic goal.
The boy from the New South Wales ACT Rams, Dean Turlick, kicks the goal. The legs are in front. Dorr knocks it down. Campbell. Looks like they've grown a leg or two, the legs. And a ball up.
You're right there. There's some questions asked right at this point in time. This game is on the line here. Right at this point in time, can the Dogs really sustain this pressure for a long period of time?
And can Norwood do it without a break in the finals? Taken by Williams. Williams kicks high. The ball is floating over the back. Callanan slipped. Away goes Puopolo. Dutchke. Well done by Schultz. Schultz got it away to Dygan. Dygan's playing some sort of a game down back. Here's McGuinness. Always wants his left. A crucial kick for McGuinness. He didn't want to go across. Went down the line. Here comes Stewie Bound. All of a sudden, he's got a motor. Taken by Siebenhaler. Chris Gowans got it on the boot, but got it on the boot in a hurry. He rushed the kick and turned it over. And the crowd love it. Some portions of the crowd. And James Gowans comes off.
Eddie Stansbury, I think that's a good move to get some run and carry out there with Eddie Stansbury. Get him into the contest.
This game too, we saw a couple of weeks ago, McGuinness was down in defence. He's on half back this time instead of full back, and they look a lot better. The general, here he is again, just controlling things for the Redlegs. Good move by Nathan Bassett. He's given Giorgio to have a word. Not a good move by Turlick there after a sensational goal moments ago. He gets a chance just to improve on his mistake a moment ago. Just goes through all of them. Cam Shenton chasing Laurie back. Paul Thomas is also going to lead the run for the ball, but Laurie cleverly goes in with a headbutt. The crowd weren't holding the ball, but Gary Filler says, no, give it to me.
Took him on. Good umpiring, Gary Filler. He ducked into it. He come around, saw the tackle coming, put his head down. And I don't reckon he really got him around the head. Good umpiring there.
The veteran Stewie Baum going one-on-one with big Pumper Sutherland. Timmy Weatherall kick towards Shenton. Clever work. Tap forward by Zorzi to Shenton. Looking for Trotter. He's going to come round on his right foot. Can he get it through? He has! Against the breeze again, he's curled it. We've seen it a couple of times today. The Redlegs, here they come.
They are coming and coming strong. They're up and about. There's a lot of chat going around the ground. There's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of questions being asked by a number of people on this ground. This is what happens in grand finals. As we see Shen work really hard. Before that, we saw Zorzi get a critical knock forward. Try to just turn around. As usual, just slide it through. He's like shell and peas, this boy.
Boys, the umpires are trying to get Kieran McGuinness off for the blood rule at the moment. So far, the Redlegs, it's only early doors yet, but they've done exactly what Nathan Bassett asked them to there at quarter time. Run and take the game on, and he is getting a lot out of the smaller players that he put under the pump like Turlick and Phillips.
Bit of blood down there with Kieran McGuinness.
Looks like he's got a tooth in his hand.
Yeah. Back in the centre. Away we go. The legs by 7 points. They've popped the question to the Bulldogs. Don't worry about that. And we'll see another ball up in the centre. Ian Mogridge.
Possessions this quarter, Michael. Central's 15, Norwood 42.
Yes, they are dominating. They go forward again. Thomas hacks it off the ground. 50-50 ball to be won. James Gowan stood up in it and did brilliantly well. Gallagher might have given away a free kick. The umpires just threw the whistle away for a moment. Here's Zorzi. He's been important. The old reverse torpedo. Davis almost took another miraculous mark. He's hovering over the footy. In they go. Umpire close at hand. Hayes, we haven't seen much of him. Loose ball. Bound. Can he get it to Phillips? Phillips from 25 metres. Kicks another one. They're on fire, the Redlegs.
They certainly are on fire. They're at the contest. That's why they're on fire. They're at the contest, strong and hard at the contest. And they're doing exactly what we spoke about early, is that they need to get the ball out. Eve Simonala couldn't pick it up. Stewie Bound just swooped on him, got the ball on the up to Phillips. Phillips just strolled in for a nice goal. This is fantastic. This is fantastic coaching. Look for Shell now. I'm seeing Shell still up in their forward lines. This is about now. Roy Laird swings Shell behind the ball.
And boys, Kieran McGuinness is back on. It was just a minor cut under the nose. He's straightened the back lines again.
The Redlegs, 5 goals in under 13 minutes of football.
I think James Gowans has gone behind Mark, sorry.
Jimmy Gowans has gone back just to try and stem the flow. They've made up the difference. They trail by 18 points at quarter time. Now they're up, 13 points up. They're moving the ball into attack again. Trent Goodrum. Don't often see the Doggies under intense pressure in a grand final. We're going to find out what they're made of. Jenner with just a little awkward handball to Boyd. Here's the pressure now. Dutchke hit by Turlick. Listen to the crowd, the Redlegs crowd are on their feet. They're loving this, their boys. Haven't seen success since 1997. They can sniff it early on already. O'Hara into 50, flying back. 2 legs go down. Sainsbury leads the foot race. But desperation by the Norwood defence. Alex Giorgio take a bow. Terrific work.
Was terrific work. We see Kieran McGuinness play on quick. They've got numbers spreading to the outer side of the ground.
They are running indeed, Sticks. Away they go to the outer side. Sibanala couldn't take the mark. Stewie Bounds right there. Right with him, hovering over it. Sibanala fumbled. Bound back in after it. In goes Weatherall. Ball close to the line. Will it jar free? It does. It flicks out the back. Hughes can't keep it in, and it rolls out of play. This game has gone up several notches.
Several. Many notches. What I'm thinking at the moment, I'm thinking East Sibanala, look, he hasn't been in the hurly-burly of SANFL football. He's come in late on it. Can his legs stand up to this contest?
He might get a bit of jelly leg at the moment. He had the wobbly boots on earlier. I think it might be a free kick to James Gallagher, the skipper. So it's been all the Redlegs. I'd like to see how many times they've gone inside 50 in this particular quarter. Ian Mogridge will work on that when he gets a moment. High kick inside. Rowe can't take the mark. Ball flicks over the back. Opportunity for Laurie. Laurie might just escort this one to the line. He does. It'll be a boundary throw-in.
In this quarter, Michael, it's been 10 for the legs and 3 for the Dogs.
What I liked about that one there is that Rowe actually took McKenzie out of the contest, took him away for it, and then doubled back on the movement. A fantastic work by Rowe.
Matty Fuller over the ball. Schultz works his way through in front of Nash, and it's going to go out to the line. Cameron Shenton just leading the race for the ball for Laurie.
Dogs will be happy with this. They need the ball out of bounds as much as they can at this point in time, just to get their breath, get their composure, get the instructions correct.
Timmy Weatherald coming off for a spell as Big Buckets and Sammy Rowe go at it again. Pretty ordinary throw-in, so it goes to Buckets' advantage. Zorzi tries the Wayne Harms type tap-in from the 81 VFL Grand Final. Where was Kenny Sheldon?
No, fantastic work. I think Zorzi's been the catalyst at the contest at this point in time. His work rate's been fantastic.
Goodrum just giving Lower a hard time. Lower puts him down and squeezes a little kick out. Nick Lower's kick. We saw him off the ground last week. Got Norwood's first. He tried it again, but just another point. The lead back to 13 points in favour of the Legs.
5 goals, 2 to zip in this term. Norwood. Nash with a long kick to a pack. Dygan at the back, knocks it away. Trotter won the hard ball, didn't quite get it. Got it to Zorzi. Boy, oh boy, is Zorzi playing a second term. He kicks high. Shenton flies high. Lower's going to have to knock it down. The ball just hits some grass. Taken by Callanan. He just paddles to the line. He'll be pretty happy to see it there with Trotter on his hammer. It'll be a boundary throw-in.
13 possessions for Brett Zorzi, 7 of them in this quarter.
He's been outstanding. Roy Laird, well, he's working the phone.
Got some magnets going backwards and forwards at the moment. He's trying to get the matchups that he wants out there.
Can't quite get it at the moment. Rowe's job on Mackenzie's been terrific. They've fought it out. Ball flicks out. Here's an opportunity for Turlick. Turlick just fumbled at the last moment. Phillips can't quite get it. Dogs will get away. Nash got it to Hayes. Away to O'Hara. Funny looking kick. It'll be marked by Puopolo. Oh, that's a good grab. That is a good grab with a wobbly ball.
Paul Puopolo attracting a lot of attention from AFL scouts. One club in particular in Victoria are very keen on getting him into their back line. We'll see that in the next few weeks as the draft unfolds at the top level. Bryce Campbell's played at the top level and he puts Norwood back into attack. Sammy Rowe. We're talking about him having to mind Mackenzie, but why don't you just play your own game, Sammy Rowe?
Well, what he did is he drifted forward. What happened there is Eve Sibanala had to come off his bloke and go to Rowe, as we see Buckets McKenzie coming off the ground here, and Rowe's just made a contest of the mark. Not happy. Eves didn't even go to the contest.
Sammy Rose missed one already today. Good opportunity here. Jason McKenzie having a breather while his man, his shadow today, Sammy Rowe, is going to have a shot from probably just inside 50. It is a 13-point ball game to Norwood. Rowe comes in purposefully, sticks it out with a breeze, curls it around. They're using the wind absolutely magnificently, Brenton Phillips.
They certainly are, Sobes, and I think that's any time you go into the grand final, I don't care who you're playing, whether you're playing Central, you're playing the blind score, I don't care, but you've got to kick straight, you've got to kick true, you've got to kick accurate, and you've got to put some pressure on. That's what Norwood's doing at the moment. Every time they've gone forward, they've put some pressure on in terms of the scoreboard. We see the kick comes in, I think it's from Bryce Campbell, and Rose just come across in the contest. Eve Simonala didn't go for it, and I reckon it was Hayes that tried to affect the sport, couldn't quite get it. Rose creating some problems out forward here for him.
They trailed by 19 points in the first term. Now they lead by 19 in the second. There's Sutherland. Brady Dorr in the ruck. Zorzi has been outstanding. Trotter extracts the footy. It'll bounce high. Getting back Havelberg. They've thrown him back. He's tackled the ground. How did he dispose of that? James Gowans somehow chopped off by Weatherall. It's all going the leg's way. His curly left foot. Shenton shoved under the footy. Might have been a free kick. Here's Laurie. Laurie's got to keep it low, and he does to Williams, who hasn't had much of it. I tell you what, it was close.
Under enormous pressure. We're going to see Roy Laird now. He's been a master tactician for a long time at this level. What can he pull out now? As Michael said, Havelberg's gone back. We've seen Gunston back. We've seen Shell back. What are they going to do? He's got Thomas out on his own across goal. He's not going to go for it. Down the line. Safety first at the moment for the Dogs. Dutchke rows it beautifully. Matty Liptak style. And then curls it around on the check side. Puopolo, hasn't he been enormous so far today? To Trotter. The crowd want ball into the back. It's going to be a free kick. Gav Hughes just eager to get down, but some really good work by Lee Spur in and under.
You've got to go low and you've got to get there first. If you don't get there first, you just can't dive into their back, and that's what Lee Spur did. He was the first one to get to the contest here after we see the ball spilled free, and then Hughes just cannoned into his back.
Norwood by 19 points. Needing this goal is an absolute understatement for the Dogs. We've just ticked into time on. Lee Spur against the breeze, gives it everything he's got, and just pulls it a little to the left.
Critical miss from Lee Spur there. They needed that one to put a little bit of pressure and go into half-time a little bit closer to him.
How good was Puopolo a few moments ago in the contest to get it to Trotter, and then unfortunately Hughes giving away the free kick. Puopolo, he uses his pace, got a block from Giorgio. He's been told to back himself. Simonala's gone forward, and since that knock, hasn't really been an effective player. Callanan, short kick. McGuinness did outstandingly well, put his body on the line, thought he wore one high. He did. Umpire wanted to call advantage. Fuller got away, but he's going to have to pull it back. It wasn't clear that Fuller was going to shrug that tackle and get going, and I think the umpire did the right thing by pulling it back to McGuinness. Yeah, look, I thought he made the right decision here. Unclear whether that ball was ever going to break free of that contest. Effectively, they did, but took the safe option. Sometimes players bob up in grand finals, blokes that you don't think are quite as good as that, and Fuller's done so well. Here's Trotter. He's stepped up to the plate, pumps it inside 50. They get back. Havelberg can't mark. Here's the dangerous Shenton. Laurie, left footer, kept it low. Down the line, Gunston all over his opponent. Surely that's in the back. Davis hovering over the footy, and umpire Richard Williams said no. I think that was not quite as bad as the Gavin Hughes free kick. Redlegs fans, they're just absolutely fired up. Why wouldn't they be? Dorr and Sutherland. Dorr went to ground. Sutherland pushed him in the back. Free kick. He milked it nicely, did Brady Dorr. For a young man, he did it well. One thing Richard Williams won't give you two cracks at it. He probably missed the first one. It's probably doubtful. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, but he wasn't going to miss the second one. Now, this is his famous pocket. This is the pocket that no one could ever kick a goal from, and we've seen him shell and peas from out here. No one misses from here. Brady Dorr has left it to the near side. The Legs lead the contest by 19 points as we tick into 22 and a half minutes in the second term. Is that forgivable? Because he's a ruckman, he's a left footer.
Redlegs fans, geez, they're pumped. They are getting very, very excited. Looking sensational at the moment, Norwood. Dutchke over the top. Dygan does the work. Boyd best placed in front of the pack. Under pressure, Shell. Giorgio wearing him tightly. Sharp beautifully. by the little man in Callanan. He's got no one behind him. Coming forward is Sibanoa. Sends it out. It's going back. McGuinness has dropped back beautifully into the hole. It's Sainsbury. 1-on-2. He's going to push it towards the line. Good defensive work by Norwood. McGuinness always backs himself, Brenton.
Certainly was. He just dropped off there. I reckon he might be on Eve Sibanoa there. Just dropped off him when he saw the run and carry, and then just went back and made a 2-on-1 contest.
The Legs by 19 points. Brady Dorr. Sutherland. Handball just swept back into the attacking zone. James Boyd's going to come around onto his right foot. Puopolo goes back and just touches it in time. What sort of a game is Paul Puopolo having?
He's having an outstanding game to this point in time. As we see the replay come up here, Paul Puopolo just got the fingers to him. Jeez, he stretched everything in his body to get to it.
I reckon he's just added another digit onto his contract if he goes to the AFL next year, so does. A 0. Free kick will go to Schultz, the late replacement for Josh Donahue, I'd say, you would say, but young Mitchell Grigg missing out, but everyone thought Josh Donahue would come back in, but Schultz has been okay. Kicks down the line, outer side. Turlick did well to get a fist on it. Thomas and Phillips. Oh, Weatherall did so well, but Phillips has fumbled a couple of times today. And now he wants a free kick with a man hovering over the footy, and it goes out of bounds. Simon Phillips had the ideal opportunity, Sticks.
Certainly did. He had to take the ball cleanly. I think that's 2 I've got him for now, not taking the ball cleanly. I'm just trying to think through what ploys you can take, and we're at probably the 24 or 25-minute mark. Might be throwing Paul Thomas around the ball.
Yep, they need to do that probably. Here it is with Spur. Spur has a bounce. Clears it away. To Sainsbury, back to Spur. Spur's kick out wide, sets a target for Daniel Shell.
Daniel Shell restored back to his position up forward. Musical magnets in the central box at the moment, just everything around. Kick too much for Dutchke. He's tenacious, he goes back. Sibanoa perhaps still seeing stars. Norwood just trying to push the ball forward. Jenner back, chance for Shell to set up. He's wrapped up into a tackle. And here's Schultz, gets his chance in a grand final. It's a 2-on-1, and it comes back. Terrific defensive work by Heath Laurie, probably making a good claim to be the best fullback in the competition so far this year.
The game is right in the balance. I know Norwood are up in terms of the scoreboard, but this is the time when you really need to get busy and make sure you either go into the contest or into half-time and more in front, or Centrals can actually get some ground off them.
The ruck work. I think Norwood would be pretty keen just to sneak one in. They're 18 points up. What a turnaround. 36-point turnaround this quarter. Central look good, but we knew Norwood were going to kick with the breeze with this term, but their run has been magnificent. Laurie with the tap to Jimmy Boyd. His kick needs to be good to Dutchke. It's not. It runs towards the line. And Gavin Hughes content to let the Redlegs reset.
As I look down, and Eve Sibanoa has just come off the ground, and they've sent Goodrum up forward. They probably wasn't getting enough from Eves up forward, so Goodrum now goes forward as a running forward.
Dorr and Sutherland, third man up was Thomas, so that allows Campbell. Campbell delays the handball. Dorr's got to try and knock it back to Campbell. Campbell slips, gets back, thought about the handball but couldn't get it free. He's still got it. He's got a hold of it, and he hasn't been able to get rid of it, and I think that's a fair call. He was really having a crack there, Bryce Campbell, but he just got caught. And James Boyd, the man with the free kick. James Boyd, crossing from South Adelaide. Fitted hand in glove into this central side. Kicks looking for Sainsbury. Dutchke's there. Schultz had to go, and he did. Matched it with Dutchke. The ball's caught in underneath again on the outer side wing. It has been a wonderful quarter by the Legs. 6 goals, 3 to just the 3 behinds. Amazing stuff. There's Gavin Hughes.
That's one thing Dutchke will do. He'll go low and hard, almost to the point where it's kamikaze for Dutchke, but I love the way he goes about his footy.
Jenner is coming out. Little scrappy kick by Sutherland. Sainsbury overruns it. Callanan cleverly knocks it out. Schultz has been good coming into the side. A beautiful handball finds the veteran. 311 games. This is going to be his last one, but his kick let him down. Kyle Jenner inboard. Finds the pig dog in Ryan Williams. He unleashes into 50. A kick and a hope and a big fly. Brought down to the front. Gavin Hughes. Callanan trying to work his way out. Handball handball comes around the body from Gowans. Coming back is Sutherland, and has he taken the mark? Yes, he has. Kicked 5 goals for Berry a couple of weeks ago in the Riverland Grand Final. He's going to get a chance now for the Dogs.
Interesting to see where the umpire sets the mark here and how they set up. Michelle's gone to him, had a word to him. He's telling him not to take a big run up. Just take 1 or 2 steps around to your right and hook it around your body.
Jason Sutherland, in his 8th game, hasn't kicked a goal at SANFL level and whacks it into the post. Still hasn't kicked a goal. They just sneak a little bit closer, Central, but they need goals, not points at this stage.
Look, I don't think it's critical stages at this point in time for Centrals, but it'll be interesting to see what they do at half-time, how they reshuffle that match-up board as we see Roy Laird pondering over at this point in time. But the contest is still critical. Around the ruck contest, I think Norwood's got on top of them to this point in time.
17 points separates the two teams. McGuinness comes to the members' side with a long kick. He'll be hoping Dorr can take a mark. Spur flew off the ground by Jonas, and the ball runs out of play.
That contest there, we see Sutherland and Spur really attack the contest hard and made a big collision, a bit of friendly fire between the two of them.
Paul Puopolo, he's got some fans. The boy from Hope Valley will be hoping for an AFL career. Campbell, rough, tough, got the handball away. Callanan will see it to the line and then threw the ball back to David Trotter. Trotter has a bit of a smile. What are you on about?
I was always under the impression if you don't hand it back to the boundary umpire or place it on the ground, it's a free to the opposition.
Nothing doing here. Rowe, Jenner, got a tap on it. Here comes Buckets. And Fuller at the bottom of that. We've seen some tough contests in this first half. Roy Laird just working away, trying to get something going. He knows his side's under a bit of pressure. It's their ability under that pressure that's been so good over the years. They haven't had to come from behind too often. Siren for half-time. A classic grand final in 2010. What a comeback by Norwood. They beat it 6 goals to zip in that second term. And Brenton Phillips, Central District 4-5-29, trailed Norwood 7-4-46.
Been a fantastic half of football as we see, and you can't see it on screen at the moment. There's a bit of argy-bargy going on out there, so there's a bit of feeling, a bit of spite starting to creep into the game, and I think that's what Norwood's probably hoping to do. They're starting to rattle Central. They think they've got them on the back foot, so they actually can really attack the contest in the second half. Now, Roy Laird, the question's been asked, what things are you going to do at half-time? How are you going to restructure? Are you going to get Shell into the contest? How are you going to structure Havelberg? Havelberg's gone behind the ball. He's a goal kicking forward. Is he going to restructure? What I saw late in that quarter is Nathan Bassett had the coaching on his terms because he constructed the Toby Schultz free in the back half. When Nord construct that, they're a running, dangerous football club.
As the Dogs head in to work out how they're going to get back into this game. A massive, massive second quarter by the Redlegs. 6 goals to zip in that quarter. They trail by 18 points at quarter time. At half time, 7-4-46 the Redlegs. Central District 4-5-29. It is Norwood by 17 points. Well, Brenton Phillips, of course, our expert today, the Gary medalist, premiership coach. He's done everything. But right at the moment, you are the under-18 coach of the SANFL team, the high-performance manager, Brenton. That's the term, isn't it?
They give you some fancy titles there in this neck of the woods.
They certainly do. Now, you've kept a close eye on the under-18s all year. They had their grand final this morning, but we'll go back to last week, preliminary final, and it was the Eagles up against Glenelg.
As we see here, the vision comes up. Louis Hender had a fantastic final series. Can be a little bit erratic in front of goals, but finishes that one off nicely. Eagles come from the 5th spot. They actually worked their way from the elimination final all the way through to the preliminary final. And I thought they probably had the team to go all the way, but they come up against a strong outfit in terms of Glenelg. Glenelg were a dominant side throughout the course of the year, and they won their way through to the grand final.
Lots of talent at this level. Sticks, you're the best man to know. Are we going to see many guys drafted, do you think?
Oh, look, out of these two sides, you see a number of them. You know, Paddy McCarthy from the Tigers, he's been really good. Through the Eagles, you know, although Brodie Smith and Pollock are in the league side, but there's some talent coming out of there.
So the Glenelg boys got up. They got the chance to go into the grand final. That was this morning, and they took on the Bloods. A replay of the second semi.
Yeah, replay of the second semi. I saw these two sides play. I reckon it was around 4 at Richmond Oval, and that was the best game of under-18s I saw for the year. See there, I think that was Darcy Munn. No, it wasn't. It was Keogh that got free there and just dribbled the ball along the ground. Clinton Diamond just breaks free into the contest there and kicks it truly for a goal. It was a really good game of football. It was nick and tuck the way through the first half, and then all of a sudden the Bay boys open it up. Ben Kennedy here, AIS graduate or AIS scholarship holder, got hold of the smothered the ball, got hold of that. Darcy Armfield had a great game, I thought. Matty Snook was awarded the Alan Stewart Medal for his best on-ground performance. Ben Kennedy scores another goal. It was just a really good... After half-time, we just saw the Bay boys just get on top of West Adelaide. West Adelaide were really gallant in defeat, though.
Glenelg by 57 points in the end. They did look very good. And you said that Alan Stewart Medal, a great acknowledgement of Alan Stewart's work. Well,
Alan's been involved in junior development, and not only at Centrals but also at the SANFL for a number of years. I think it spans back to probably the late 70s, where he's involved in the Teal Cup, then the Teal Cup, and was a fantastic, not only coach, but a good mentor for a lot of the players that come through.
The Bay boys coached by Chris Massey, former Red Leg, of course, with some great AFL experience at Carlton and the Crows, and just finding his way now as a coach. What's he been like?
He's been very good. Comes with that leading teams mentality. Yep. And I'd like to pay knowledge to Greg Mellor at West Adelaide. I thought his development of that side over the course of 12 months has been nothing short of sensational.
Well, there we go, the boys with the cup, and as you mentioned there, Matthew Snook looks pretty similar to another bloke we've seen at league level, doesn't he?
His brother Shannon Snook's playing at league level here, so he's a really tenacious in and under. I think he had something like about 25 stats for the game, and most of them were his effective stats. Jacob Carger that played off a half-back saying he can think himself unlucky not to win the medal.
Well, the Tigers went out in straight sets at league level. Some consolation there. Their under-18 boys doing very well. They got up by 57 points, and as we said, Matty Snook looking very good there. Chance of getting drafted, Sticks?
I think so. The only thing is he hasn't been invited to a state screening, which is probably a little bit disappointing from his point of view.
Now back to this game, the big one at half-time. Well, what a quarter by the Redlegs in that second term. Obviously, the Dogs got off to a flyer with the breeze. They held a nice lead there. But when the Redlegs turned it around, they just went nuts, didn't they?
Certainly did. Once they put their foot on the accelerator, we talked about the pace and the ability to spread. They did that very effectively.
And goals there too. Davis, the multiple scorer for the Redlegs, the only one on the ground at this stage. So Norwood looking pretty good. Statistics?
Statistic-wise, they are looking pretty good. They got themselves in front with the inside 50s. We spoke about that at quarter time. They've arrested that problems and they've got back on top of it.
And centre break's pretty even there, Stick. So things looking pretty tight now that Central are going to go back with that breeze. It looks like it's significant.
The first 10 minutes of this quarter, the premiership quarter, is going to be the interesting part.
Certainly will be. Michael Maney is going to kick us off for this second half of the 2010 SANFL Grand Final.
Well, Sticks, if I'd have had some money, I'd have put it on you for the premiership quarter call. And you duly saluted. And that's exactly what it is. Well, you just get the feeling that the Bulldogs need to be either in front or they need to be a couple of kicks behind in the last quarter to really make this a go. Sam Rowe, wonderful goal at the 18-minute mark of the second term. He's been terrific for them in the ruck. Jason McKenzie also been outstanding for the Bulldogs. The roar goes up. The second half about to get underway in the 2010 SANFL Grand Final. Umpire Gary Feeler, a good bounce too. Taken away by Campbell. Ball just ricochets to Thomas. He missed it. Puopolo couldn't take it with him. McKenzie hard in at the contest. They dive on him.
I spoke just before half-time about Paul Thomas' ability to get into the midfield. I've noticed he's now thrown him into the midfield on Nick Lower.
Roy Laird's got the audio stream into the commentary box. Here's Goodrum. Can't collect the footy. Be desperate, nor to be happy with a lot of stoppages, one would imagine, in this term, whereas that's normally the Bulldogs' way. They love the stoppage.
Certainly do. The Bulldogs want the stoppage, want the body contest so they can actually take the run out of Norwood's game.
McKenzie knocked it down but couldn't get it decisively. Taken by James Gowans. High kick. Gunston, ball flew over the back. Opportunity for Spur. Dygan with desperation. Gunston uses Chris Gowans. Lower's got him with a brilliant tackle. And they wrestle. And Chris Gowans, would be fair to say, in 2010's lost a yard or two.
Certainly might have, but Nick Doyle's chase was fantastic. They're the type of things that can win you grand finals. The ability to run, chase, and put that applied pressure on people.
Alex Giorgio, a little too much for Puopolo. Havelberg gets back on it. Puopolo, terrific tackler. He's not going to let him go anywhere. During a great year, one of 5 Redlegs, Paul Puopolo named in the SANFL Team of the Year. Took out the back pocket. Just 2 Bulldogs, amazingly. Callanan and Thomas named in that team. McKenzie gets the tap down. Puopolo on the bottom again. Gallagher going towards the line. Comes back out to Callanan. From 48, curls it around. He's not going to curl it around enough. They just get that little bit closer. Central District trailing by 16 points.
What you see is the difference between the two sides. James Gallagher decided to keep that ball in play. Central's would have been happy to run that across the line, get another restart.
Hughes, long kick, Rowe and McKenzie. McKenzie happy to double fist to the line and set up for a boundary throw-in. James Gallagher's game, pretty good in the first half. He was all over the place.
Gallagher, Puopolo and Zorzi all had 13 possessions to be the leading ball getters on the ground.
There's Gallagher again. And we see another stoppage. Well, the game broke open extensively in the second term. Nathan Bassett, Ben Wilson looking on. 6 goals to zip. Third man up, as he is so often, Thomas Callanan, taken to ground, and see another stoppage. And once again, this will be okay for Norwood.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out, is this good for Norwood or good for Central? It's taking time off the clock. At least Central's got the win, so they want to get the ball moving. There's not panicking at the moment, but they want to get a score on the board quickly.
Really seen too much clear ball in the third term, and we'll get just another one again. So we've ticked into the 3.5 minute mark of the third term, and 16 points the margin in favour of the Redlegs.
Sammy Rowe brings it down. Callanan squeezes a kick out at goal with the breeze, rides it right through. The little Tasmanian master gets one back for the Dogs.
Probably just answered my question as who does it actually suit? Well, when you're going to have bounce down after bounce down and Central's forward 50, the chances are at some point in time they're going to score. We see a nice little ruck set up here. Cullen just got forward to the contest and just able to squeeze it. He's a master of finishing the goal. Right, left foot, any way you want, short, round the corner, long, he'll get him anyway.
Second goal to the little man they call Wingnut.
12 possessions for the Wingnut, equal highest for the Dogs.
And Modbridge on stats, doesn't miss a beat. McKenzie, brilliantly down to Goodrum. Goodrum cuts through the centre of the ground and delivers. Gunston couldn't take the mark. Opportunity for the Redlegs. Bouncing ball. Thomas hacks it back forward. Williams can't gather. Played for the free kick, didn't get it. Boundary throw in. Dygan was the man hot on his hammer.
There's little chapters in this game unfolding as I can see it. There's questions being asked on both teams. Now Centrals are asking Norwood, what's your defensive pressure like now, boys?
Rowe gets rid of McKenzie, who slipped. Rowe back again after the footy. And another ball up.
The other one I've picked up on, Michael, is Goodrum. Goodrum's gone in through the midfield, probably playing a high half-forward role, but's gone in there after the contest.
You know, he's good in the final big dance of the year, winning the Odie medal last year. McGuinness to Trotter. Trotter's wobbly ball. Bound. Can't gather. Maybe just a little bit of touch still with Stewie Bound, but I reckon they'd be pretty happy with the way he's competed so far in this game. He's really put his hand up and said, well, I'm going to do some bullocking and shoving work today.
I think it's a near little draw there. E7-0 hasn't played a lot of footy. Stewie Bound hasn't played a lot of footy at the moment.
McKenzie driving the Dogs forward again. Uncharacteristic fumble there by one of the Gowans boys. Just rides into the back. It was Chris Callanan in. Gives it to James. Just not exerting a lot of influence today, the Twins. Talks of retirement. How many of these Dogs are going to go on? Is it the end of an era? James and Chris Gowans have been talked about. Jason McKenzie, Daniel Shell, Eve Sibanala. They've all got great premiership success. They need to stand up in this third term. A little bit of blood work. The umpire just checking there, Leehausen, in his first grand final. He's okay with it. Sutherland. Dogs go forward again. Kicked out by Thomas. Up high. Doesn't go far. Free kick. He's going to go to the Dogs. Jack Gunston. It's been picked out. It's going to be a tough shot. But we've seen today that blokes are going to do it. It's going to come back. It's going to go to Ryan Williams, not Gunston.
I reckon it was in a chain reaction, Soda.
Williams just puts it out, doesn't go for goal. Top of the square in a dangerous spot. Up with a mark. Daniel Shell. True safe hands at the head of the square.
Well, we probably haven't seen enough of Shell today. He kicked a beautiful goal in the first quarter, but he really hasn't got himself into the game as yet. Now, this is a dangerous football. He's one you've got to shut down. Just put himself in a nice spot.
Daniel Shell from point blank to get the margin within 4 points, and he does it. The Doggies sneaking their way back right into the contest.
Certainly are. That puts him for 2 goals. He, as I said, he's got the first goal come in the first quarter. As we see the replay, Williams just put it into the danger spot. They just played the centre. Shell was good enough to get rid of his direct opponent, McGuinness, and takes a comfortable mark. Almost you could call that uncontested at the top of the goal square. Never going to miss from there.
Boys, just down here at ground level, Cam Shenton's still got a corky down here. He's a little bit doubtful about whether he's going to go on or not. If you ask him, he's fine, but the bench is a bit unsure about that. They're going to keep him on ice for a minute.
And for James Boyd down here for Centrals, he's been warming up for the last 2 or 3 minutes. He's got the split chin. You'll see a little bit of tape or lubricant across the chin, and he'll be injected back into the fray shortly.
Chris Kendall and Michael Filippo on the boundary for us this afternoon. Chris Gowans with the clearance, bouncing ball inside 50. Who can gather it? Callanan ran straight past it. Dygan has got some pressure, wanted the line, and he got enough on it. It'll dribble there, and got it there safely. It'll be a boundary throw-in. Just the one goal kick to left of screen as Brett Zorzi gets a rub on his legs and the hamstrings.
Hamstring area there, Michael. That's they'll be wanting to get him back on the ground as quickly as possible.
Gallagher for Norwood. Up and under kick. Under it is Thomas. Puopolo flew a bit early. No free kick in there. Puopolo just both try and drag it in under and leave it to the umpire to make the decision. And he says, give it to me. There's Paul Puopolo, who's been quite outstanding today for the Redlegs. His run and carry's been so important for the Norwood Football Club.
Centrals have played the entire 8 minutes and 52 in their forward fifth, or inside their front half of their oval.
Spur away to Williams. Williams lines them up and misses away to the right-hand side. It is a 3-point ball game as we've ticked into the 9-minute mark. Third quarter, 2010 SANFL Grand Final at Footy Park.
Notice Matty Davis has taken his bloke down behind the ball, so he's actually created another defender. They're just trying to chalk it up at the moment, Norwood.
Goodrum just going back onto the ball. He's got Phillips trying to hold him up there. Central are going to work hard just to keep it here in their front half, keep the pressure up. They've already pegged back 2 goals in this third term. The breeze really significant, as we've seen. Very, very tough to score down the other end. Brady Dorr, the lighter body, against big Pumper Sutherland. Gets it forward towards Williams. Trotter goes in. And at the bottom of the pack, surprise, surprise, the veteran, Timmy Weatherall.
As we look up, and there's nobody in the Norwood forward line. What's happened is Davis has taken Lowry down defence. Coach Laird has said, I'm not allowing them to have a free on the ground anywhere, and you go with your player.
Jay Nash up towards the head of the square. McGuinness leads out with it through his hands to Shell. He can't hold it. Wrapped up in a tackle. Heath Laurie, what's he doing down there? Snuck down, just drifting, trying to get a goal. They want a free kick. The umpire's letting it go. We like that. Don't dictate too much of the game, Richard Williams, even though it might be your last. Just let it run, let it flow. Sutherland with strength knocks it forward. Gavin Hughes comes out to Dygan. Last week, he was an absolute hero for this football club. And normally, Sticks would be saying, That could be deliberate, but not today.
Wouldn't
no
that
chance.
be ironic if they paid it now? That would set the tone pretty quickly. But yes, Norwood have pushed all the numbers behind the ball. They just want to shut this down until they get to the last quarter.
Hard ball to be won. James Gallagher said, I'm up for the task, but he can't gather it in another ball up. So the game has tightened up a bit. We saw an amazing run at the 1, 5, 8, 11 and 12 minute mark for Norwood in the second term when they booted goals. A couple of Davis, Phillips, Trotter, Turlick, Thomas really starting to get his hands on the footy. Up goes Shell, can't take the mark. Roving Puopolo, put his teammate under the pump. Ball flicks out the back. Gallagher didn't have to dive on it, could have stayed on his feet. Callanan stood up in the tackle. Goodrum, he's pretty keen for it. Knocked his skipper out of the way in Paul Thomas. Weatherall's over the footy. Umpire Richard Williams is hovering. He is hovering. He's not going to give a free kick.
He was never going to pay that one. You don't pay him there in grand finals unless they're blatant and obvious. What I've noticed is both Thomas and Goodrum have got into some work at the moment.
Well, that was Richard Williams, Sticks. Here's Callanan over the footy. Phillips over him, trying desperately to get it out. Callanan finally knocks it back. Fuller caught in a bear hug by Chris Gowans. Fuller can't release, and the umpire will ball it up again. Oh, the tension. Opportunity for Dygan. Dygan fed the handball to Weatherall, who scooped it up. Good play by Weatherall, kicks to a pack situation, but Havelberg takes the mark for the Bulldogs.
Daniel Havelberg out from the goal square. We haven't seen there much today. The fly goes up. Hughes is good under pressure. Waited for it with Schultz. Got the clever little tap to Weatherall, but it comes to Jay Nash. He's got some space. From inside the square goes long. The sit is taken by Jack Gunston. The Adelaide Crow wants to make himself an immortal as a Central District Bulldog in a very tough position.
Certainly, that's the problem with not playing a forward structure. You get a quick kick out of there and nothing to kick to.
Jack Gunston with a banana, the check side. Slams it into the post. And it is a little bit closer for the Dogs. 2 points.
He wouldn't have known what the check side was until he came across here to South Australia. Obviously, he's been out with Neil Craig doing a bit of check side kicking.
They call it a boonana, don't they, these days?
They do. Good Sandringham boy from Bayside, Melbourne. He wouldn't call it anything but a banana, Mickey.
McGuinness finds Gallagher, the old firm working well. He'll need to get rid of it quickly. He does, kicks to the wing, and Jonas did well. Kicks down the line, looking for Turlick, can't quite hold on. Sainsbury's had a quiet grand final. Ball run to the line, boundary throwing.
This is when Norwood really need to step up the work rate here. They need to get a goal against the flow of play.
Ruckman go at it. Over the back, Laurie. In goes Chris Gowans. Weatherall. He's had a couple of important touches. Kicks inside 50. Bound can't get there. Sibanala. Right there. Opportunity. Norwood. This is the closest they've been to their goals this quarter. And they need to make the most of it.
Zorzi work in that last contest was first class. Really went low and hard and created the ball to go inside his forward 50.
That man keeping a very straight face. The Bulldog supporter. Bound. Tried to get it to Campbell. Door, Campbell, right footer, floats away behind. First score of the quarter for the Redlegs.
They structured that fairly well from that ruck contest. Although they had Campbell going on the wrong side, which is his right foot.
Jay Nash is running the ball out of defence. There's a wrestle on here with McGuinness and also Shell. McGuinness flicks it back. He's got Puopolo, but Callanan gets there first. Bounce for Spur, he needs it. Gives it to Callanan. Ignores Thomas. Thomas does a shepherding. Little wingnut has a bounce, running in. Sets it up. Whacks it through the middle. Liam Callanan, you little beauty, gets his third.
Yeah, look, that was a steadier that they've asked the question. They've put the question to Nord. Can you go with us? You called Thomas, should he wingnut given it to him? No, he was never going to get it. But he was always going to apply the shepherd for Callanan there. And he knew Callanan was a good, honest goal kicker. Just strolled inside forward 50. Didn't hit it the best, and I reckon that's why it didn't deviate off its line.
Boys, Kyle Jenner's come to the interchange for Central District. He's got a complaint on the left hamstring. That's under siege. And also that eerie chant of Centrals and you dogs is starting to come up here at Football Park.
The Bulldogs haven't led since the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. Here's Weatherall. Handball away. Lower's about to get nailed. No awareness. And the advantage is paid. It'll have to come back now. It'll come back to Williams. A bit laconic there, Nick Lower. Not enough talk.
He's just got blindsided here. Couldn't feel the player. You've got to be able to smell him coming at you.
Yeah, you do. Laurie, how did he get rid of it? Legally to Williams. Weatherall in the back of Gowans. No free kick. Oh, Campbell with courage. He'll take a lot of courage from here. Bound, one of his rare kicks. Bounces it inside 50, does he know? Just before it hit the turf, O'Hara. Away to Sainsbury. Sainsbury kicks out wide. One of the great grand finals. There's Davis. Oh, he beat Boyd on a one-on-one and then fed it to Gallagher. Gallagher can have a bounce. He's got Turlick in short and he goes to him and drills the pass. Running forward was Schultz, but Turlick, he's got bigger fish to fry. A little bit deeper. Phillips is running to the square and the kick is off the side of the boots and it rolls away and will be a boundary throw in. 7-8-50 the Doggies. They lead by 3 points. And Norwood still happy.
He had Bound got away from Eveson, slipped over, but the kick end result wasn't too bad out of bounds there.
Row down to Zorzi. Weatherall, another touch for him. Phillips couldn't get clean possession. It'll be a ball up. What a game. One of the best grand finals we've seen in a long time. If we pulled it up right here, what a beauty it's been.
It's a rip snorter. Can we get another draw?
Oh.
Don't tell me.
McKenzie, ruck work again. Comes out to Goodrum. Going towards the boundary line. Gallagher loses his man in Dutchke. Up into the forward line. Big fly. Heath Laurie, strong in defence. Just what the Dogs needed. Starting to feel a little bit of pressure down there. Lee Spur wanted to go home to Queensland a year ago. Played in the Premiership, wants to play in another one. McGuinness back to Spur. And taken out. Oh, McGuinness a big crunch there. The little wing nut. He spotted Phillips. And here's a danger man, Phillips. Let's have a look at that. Oh! I love seeing that in the grand final. Let's see how Phillips has responded. Not well, he's gone off.
As you would.
He was heading that
McGuinness, I just noticed there, McGuinness grabbed at his hamstring. Now, I wonder if it's cramp or hamstring. He's not chasing hard at the moment.
Goodrum to Sainsbury. And goes on to Chris Gowans. Spots the kick up towards Jack Gunston and hits him magnificently on the tip.
There's some tired boys out there. There's been some fierce contests, one after another. And this is the quarter. This is the quarter sets up your whole premiership decider here as Chris Gowans goes in forward. This boy here, Gunston, he's really run amok up forward.
Jack Gunston, pick number 29 in last year's AFL draft for the Crows. Shoots from 45 and shoots to the left. Norwood get a little chance as the Doggies sneak out a little further. They're 4 points up.
And their rotations are down a bit at the moment, boys. Simon Phillips got into the rooms after that hard hit bleeding from the mouth, and Cam Shenton spent the whole quarter down there. I reckon his day's done.
How's that breeze, Chris? Is it still pumping the same as the first quarter?
Yes, it is, and it's still going probably more towards the middle of the right of screen, if that makes any sense. So it's going straight down the ground rather than swirling to one pocket or the other.
The middle of the right of screen. After the game, I'll get you to put that on the whiteboard for me. Boundary throw in. Up goes Shell, knocks it forward. Boyd, eyes for the footy. Weatherall can't snag him. Boyd's kick, mown down, falls to Nash. Nash tackled by Zorzi. Zorzi was off the ground a few moments ago, having some work done on his hamstrings. Looks to be working okay at the minute.
You can't underestimate these little things. So first of all, you get the smother, and then you get a great tackle by Brett Zorzi.
That was Fuller. He does all the 1%ers, does young Fuller, and impressed with him. And we see another stoppage. David Trotter gone out of the game a little bit, but all the scoring's been done to right of screen. And Cameron Shenton, the only goal kicker to left of screen. Here's McGuinness, got it from Puopolo. His kick to a 2-on-1, and Schultz couldn't quite get there in the middle of that pack, and it's thumped out of play. Boundary throw in. We've ticked into the 20.5-minute mark of the third term in the SANFL Grand Final for 2010. Here is Mark Soderstrom.
Sticks in time on. The difference at the moment is 4 points. What sort of lead does Central need at three-quarter time with Norwood kicking with the breeze in the last?
Look, they need to be 1 or 2 goals up, I suspect. But in saying that, Centrals have had the ability in previous times to actually score going into the breezes.
Jimmy Boyd up. Mark can't be completed by Havelberg. Norwood defence stands tall. Turlick just works his way through the traffic and spots up a beautiful kick. He's got Trotter. Callanan comes in late. Trotter gets the kick out. Sammy Rowe. Eve Sibanala guarding the mark. Hayes. He's got to go back with Schultz. It's going to be a foot race towards the goal. Hayes just pushes him out. The umpire lets it go. They've let just about everything go. It looks good so far in the grand final. They've done well. We've hardly noticed them. The kick coming towards Sainsbury. He's wrapped up in a tackle. Trying to find Dutchke and does. Little give over the top. Williams wasn't effective. Knocks it forward, looking for the safety of the line. Zorzi in. Also, Dutchke keeps it in. Runs along there. And Gavin Hughes will see it out as well.
One of the interesting things, I always remember talking to Roger Merritt about playing finals football. Roger reckons they're very technical come the home and away. Final series, you have to kill somebody to get a free kick against. And he loved it.
He did. Brenton Phillips played his football with Brisbane and also played at Essendon as well as North Adelaide. The kick comes in for the Doggies. Havelberg, 2-on-1. It goes over the back. The bounce doesn't favour the Doggies and sneaks through for another behind. The lead just sneaks a little more too. 5 points to Central.
The Redlegs, the kick, oh, turns it over. You can't do that. Jay Nash. I don't think you get the distance. If you got a nice piece of a torpedo, he might get there. He decides to sit it up into a dangerous spot. The mark's taken by Spur. He pulled the kick. He kicked it to the pocket. And Lee Spur, almost without an opponent, took the mark.
Yeah, he just caught him on the rebound here. The kick from Kieran McGuinness, I was just noticing here as we see the ball come into Lee Spur, but I did notice that Kieran McGuinness had a lot of space in front of him to kick it to himself and take it on. Didn't take that option.
Ian Callanan takes a spell with the ball in the hands of Lee Spur. Tricky little kick this from 20. He's got to punch it hard, and he does. The Doggies are out by 10. Lee Spur gets his first of the afternoon. And the crowd, the Doggies are up and about, but Norwood fans are a little bit quiet this term.
As we see the ball come in from the reverse angle, Lee Spur's just drifted forward on the kick out there and was able to mark it. Whilst it bordering on uncontested, was a good catch over the top. This is where you've got to pop the question now, boys. This is in the middle of the ground. It's a very important stage and very important to get this ball out of here.
Just ticked over 23.5 minutes. Third quarter. Central by 11. This clearance massively important. The big hit by Pumper forward gains some yardage. Chris Gowans puts the arms around Gallagher. It comes out to Fuller. He loves to run and he loves to kick it up. Sibanala holds on to Schultz. The umpire doesn't pay the free kick. Comes back to Hayes. So good in the second semi with 3 goals. He's needed down back for the Dogs in this quarter. Laurie wheels around onto his left. The kick's going to go towards Puopolo. Comes back with Williams. Ryan Williams and Trotter. Havelberg comes in and a free kick. Umpire was about to call play on, but it's going to come back Norwood's way. It's going to go to David Trotter.
You get some luck on them. Sometimes they go with it, sometimes they don't.
Little kick, Nick Lower. He's got a lead here from Turlick, and the kick spots him up beautifully. Superb skills from Nick Lower.
That is AFL standard. That is just a drill it inside forward 50. Hit him lace out.
Dean Turlick curls around onto his right foot from 52 metres against the breeze. Oh boy. Clips it into the post.
Let's all just take a deep breath here. I'm starting to get excited. Let's all just take a deep breath. Let's have a look at what needs to be done. What needs to be done is needs to be strong at the contest here. They need to be able to go the length of the ground here, Centrals.
And they will do that. Jay Nash. They'll certainly be fresh. The kick is good to Spur. Kick the last goal for the Dogs. Punches low down the line to Havelberg. Not getting out of those mitts. He can see players running. He goes long. He's hoping for a mark. Gunston works. Digan out of the contest. Giorgio dangerously knocking it toward goal. Rush behind. Ooh, you'd have your heart in your mouth. Giorgio going for the line. obviously knew what he was doing. It is a 10-point margin in the grand final.
Gav Hughes finds some space with Campbell, pushed as he kicked. Dorr under the ball, comes out to Zorzi. And Sibinala recovered from that big hit early in the match. Looking after Schultz, just doesn't want to give him an inch.
Centrals has just made it a one-on-one contest. That's why they've got back into this. They back themselves on the one-on-one contest.
11 points, right on the verge of three-quarter time. Big hit from Sutherland. Good work by Fuller. Zorzi gets his kick. No one home. Jack Gunston out to Sainsbury, and he's got Chris Gowans on if he can get to him. He decides to go a little further, and he goes to Callanan. Haven't we seen some absolutely sensational work from this man? And let's have a look at his kick. That's why he's one of the most highly skilled individuals in this competition, and he finds Daniel Shell.
No disrespect to James Allen, but this bloke, Ian Callanan, is the best in the competition. Not one of the best, the best. Just finds a contest every time. Geez, you want the ball in this bloke's hands.
Really surprising, Sticko. He could only manage maximum votes in the McGarry in the one game.
But a lot of blokes taking votes off him.
He certainly did.
And he's had 9 possessions this quarter for 18 for the game.
He has been terrific, Callanan. He's kicked 2 goals this quarter. Now it comes down onto the shoulders of Daniel Shell. He has 2 for the match. From right on 50. Kicks it in, the Doggies. They get another one. They can stretch the lead out just that little bit further. It goes out to 17 points. And Daniel Shell gets his 3rd right near three-quarter time.
That is experience. Daniel Shell orchestrated himself to go back. It was interesting, Jack Gunston really floated back inside their defensive 50 as we see the replay come through here. Callanan just wheels around on his left foot, hits it up beautifully there with Daniel Shell. That's just experience. You always say when you want your best players to stand up, you go to them, and that's what he did there.
The champ was challenged, and the champ has responded.
He's got up and thrown a couple back at him.
Magic second quarter by the legs, but the Bulldogs have come back in spades. Off the ground, James Gowans. Another goal could be a warning signal for the legs. They cough it up again, taken by James Gowans, saved by the siren. It is three-quarter time in the grand final. There's Jason Sutherland. Nice warm day in Adelaide. The Bulldogs 9-11-65. Norwood 7-6-48. It is set up for a terrific last quarter.
Certainly is set up for a terrific last quarter. That's what Centrals are good at. We just knew at half-time that Roy Laird would just slowly adjust a few things in terms of the coach's box and his magnets. He has done that, but you can shift magnets as much as you want, but at the end of the day, the players have got to come out there and play the game, and that's what they did. Paul Thomas went around the ball. Goodrum went around the ball. They started to push the ball forward. Callanan started to get his hands on the ball, and when he starts to get your hands on the ball, he looks dangerous. Hit up Shell beautifully in that last little bit, and Roy Laird, we can just see him there on screen now going over his magnets one final time before he goes down and delivers.
34-point turnaround for the Dogs in that quarter. 5 goals to zip with the Breeze. You mentioned Ian Callanan. What an absolute star is this competition. Sticks, you've called him the best player in the competition.
Pound for pound, he is the best player in the competition. I don't care what you say about it. There's some fantastic players in the competition. No question about this, but I think this bloke here stamps his authority as the best bloke in the competition purely because he can do everything. He can go forward, kick goals, or he can run through the midfield.
Daniel Shell also starting to impose himself on the game. He kicked a couple of goals that quarter. But what changed? It's certainly not just down to the Breeze, Sticks, is it?
Nothing really changed. The only thing that changed is they got their work rate up. Paul Thomas was the one I was calling before half-time. Get Paul Thomas in the midfield. Why? Because he's a competitive animal, and that's what happened. Him and Goodrum went in there as competitive animals and just burst the game open.
Have you seen the ruck? There's a lot of talk about the ruck coming into the game, about Mackenzie's dominance. He was great in the second semi, great in that round 17 win against Norwood as well. Sam Rowe's done all right.
I think that Sam Rowe has done all right. There's been no dominance in terms of the ruckman, but what happened is I think Centrals are now starting to get on top in terms of the clearances. I haven't got any stats in front of me, but I'm just going off my eye in terms of I think they are getting on top of them in the clearance area.
17 points right now at three-quarter time. We saw what Norwood did in that second term. Can they get back into this, Norwood?
Certainly can get back into the game. There's no question about that as we see that come up, the shot come up there.
the Dogs. It was 18 points at quarter time, 17 points to Norwood at half time, and then they've turned it around, the boys from Central, 17 points up at 3/4 time. Let's have a look at the goal kickers, run us through them.
Yeah, Callan and the 3 impressive goals. Shell's worked his way in, hasn't seen a lot of the footy, but 3 goals in the grand final, you'll take that any day.
Yep.
On the other hand, Davis is a lone hand up forward in terms of multiple goal kickers. They need some more work through Phillips and Turlick up forward, and Shenton's off the ground, so I'm not sure where they're going to get the drive. But Shuey Bound needs to stand up and be strong now.
Well, I know, Sticks, you are over the moon and excited about this little man. He is just, well, the best player in the competition, little wingnut.
Certainly is the best player in the competition. We called it early in the contest. When your best players stand up, when your best players have got the ball in their hands, something happens. And no doubt when this man has the ball in his hand, Centrals are on the roll.
They need to shut him down. How are they going to do it?
They need to get their hands on the footy. That's it. That's simple. They're well-structured Centrals. They're that well-structured. I don't think you can send someone deliberately to him to shut him down. I think you've got to fundamentally find the footy around the contest and spread hard so he hasn't got the footy in his hands.
A big task for Nathan Bassett. We know him as an AFL star. He's now coaching the Redlegs. Let's listen to him at 3/4 time.
The rest of you got to be strong, okay? When it's your turn, play on your man. Smokey, you'll go back forward now. Okay. Brady Dorr, you need to give us a lift. Sutherland is smashing at 10 metres every time. That is not acceptable. Come on, Rowie. We're going to need you. Shooter, we're going to need you. Boys. Need everyone. See areas groups. See areas groups.
Yeah, they're moving forward. Moving forward, boys. Come on.
Boys, it's going to be a real win for the ages if Nord can get up from here. We know there's no Cam Shenton for the rest of the game. They've now lost Simon Phillips as all. There was a fractured jaw in that incident, so his day is pretty much done. Nathan Bassett is invoking the history of 1978. He's saying, remember back in that era, they ran and they pinched the upset win. He's really put Kieran McGuinness under the pump, said that last quarter wasn't acceptable. Same with Brady Dorr. He's really imploring his senior players to stand up, but he just wants them to run and run all over the ground, and he's going to really hope that they can get there like 1978. Over to Michael Philippo at the Central District Huddle.
Coach Roy Laird was very pleased with Central's output in the third quarter. He praised the brothers Gowans, Scott Dutchke and also Daniel Shell for showing poise in that last quarter. What he's asked for them to respond with, he said this quarter, look, it's going, the breeze is right in our face, but we still need to play man-on-man football. And if Nord get a player behind the play, he wants them to man up at all costs.
Needs them to man up, of course. They're going to be going against the breeze. Let's have a look at these statistics up to 3/4 time.
Yeah, probably to me, you know, Central's just got back on top in terms of the inside 50s, and we expect that to change in this quarter because of the Norwood going with the breeze. Other than that, pretty much stock standard. Central's have probably had a little bit more ball in hand.
A couple of big injuries here for Norwood. It's been a big concern for them. No Cam Shenton and no Simon Phillips. That's how he was cleaned up by Ian Cullinan. We talked about the good work of Cullinan with the ball. Off the ball, though, this could be a massive move for him, really.
Absolutely. Whilst he's kicked these 3 goals, he's done some beautiful things around the contest, and that was just one of them. He was open. He was there to be hit and hit him very fairly in the contest, and great little work there.
Well, the Redlegs going into this final term, 17 points down and 2 men short. Cam Shenton, Simon Phillips out for the rest of the game. Here's Michael Maney with all the action of the final term.
Well, you just get the feeling they could be running out of numbers. They need to rotate in the last quarter. But boy, oh boy, what a game this has been. And I think I can see Cameron Shenton at full forward.
Yes, Michael, they're going to roll the dice with him down there and just throw caution to the wind.
They've put him to full forward. Last quarter of the 2010 Grand Final. Here we go. Buckle up. I think it'll be a beauty. Bound gets it to Zorzi. Zorzi kicks long. Shenton, he won't be able to chase too much. He might have had a jab. Here's Callanan. Away to Hayes. Hayes nicely to Siebenhaler. Will the fresh legs prevail? Siebenhaler's helicopter not taken by Shell and goes out of bounds. Just noticed Brady Dorr on the bench, Toby Schultz and Simon Phillips, and then we saw Cam Shenton.
What a comeback. We were told Shenton we weren't going to see him again. Lazarus style. Can he become the hero?
Well, he certainly can if he kicks a couple of goals and put him in front. He definitely will be the hero.
Who was the man said, I will come back? MacArthur. Bouncing ball. James Gowans. In goes Zorzi. Locks it up. Another bounce. A couple of quick goals required from the Redlegs to give them something in this final term. But the Bulldogs, are they heading for another grand final victory? Third man up, doesn't go far. Campbell paddling in front. Callanan got him. got his kick away. Shenton forced forward, no free kick, held on to it. Laurie's over the top. And the umpire said, look at that.
It's like a rodeo there. He's riding like a Brahma bull.
Crack that whip. Campbell tries to bullock his way through. And we'll see another stoppage. Just how much will those stoppages take out of the Redlegs? Roy Laird, furrowed brow, as usual. Rowe punches forward. Laurie clears the decks for the Dogs. And it won't quite get to the line, or will it? Stays in. Amazing stuff, that football. The boundary umpire says, let me in on the act. I want to throw it back in. And he does. There goes Nick Dyke.
Very important stage of the contest. I'm not stating the obvious here, which I am, but this is a very important stage of the contest.
And boys, Cam Shenton's come straight off. That's the end of that experiment.
Lazarus for just moments, Cam Shenton. Sam Rowe, big slap by Mackenzie. You can just about bet that if the scores are this margin, 17 points in about 10 minutes' time, we know it's going to happen. It's going to be ball out of bounds, ball up. So the Dogs just need to stay with them. Norwood need a little bit of magic. Over the ball is Trotter. It's going to go out. Dickie Williams keeping the whistle away today. There's Cam Shenton. Came back on for a moment. So important. Provides a little bit of X factor for Norwood up forward. They're going to have to find someone else. Who's going to stand up? Is it going to be Turlick? Weatherald in his last game. Bound picks it up beautifully on the half volley. Zorzi comes out to Thomas. Pumps the Doggies into attack. Bounce. A googly right in front of Sainsbury. McGuinness, the general, finds his skipper. Needs to get back quickly. Gav Hughes has got Thomas on him tight. He opts up for McGuinness. Has had to run down for defence and provide a target. He's going to get the chance from shoot from 50.
Certainly is. This is the way Norwood's going to get back into the game. They're going to have to run and carry the ground here, as we see Gallagher just able to put it in front of McGuinness. And behind him, we didn't see it in shot, but Stewie Baum was working Eve Subbanala really hard to the contest.
A couple of years ago, Kieran McGuinness gave up the football, picked up the round ball and played Gaelic football for Coal Island in County Tyrone. Well, let's see how he goes back with our football. From 52 metres out, unloads Kieran McGuinness, but it just drifts to the right.
Sometimes you only get so many chances in this game to put sides away or put your stamp on the game, and I think that might have been one of them.
It's a fair way out. Kieran McGuinness probably right on the edge of his distance, but couldn't quite get it there. 16 points the margin. Long kick out. Jonas tried to thump away, finds the line. And time ticking into 4.5 minutes. Final term. What a game it's been. The Dogs led by 19 at quarter time. The Legs with a devastating second term by 17. And at three-quarter time, a 17-point lead to the Bulldogs. Bowen working hard. Sibanela crunched in the first quarter by his own teammate. What a comeback. Williams kicks to the boundary, and that'll be the instruction. Let's get it out there, play it wide, play it along the line, and then let Norwood do all the cutting back in through the corridor and take all the risks.
It's a game of millimetres at the moment. Centrals are just willing to just mungle it forward any way they can to get the stoppage up there into the ground.
Zorzi knocks into the clear. Nash needs to be clean. Slight fumble. Boyd, pirouette. Tackle didn't stick. Goodrum got the kick away. Wobbly. Shell can't mark. McGuinness did well. Jonas over the top. Puopolo ridden into the ground. No free kick. Umpires threw the whistle away for most of this game. I thought it might have been a free.
Done a good job, Sticks. I like the work of the three umpires.
Certainly have. They've umpired the game in the spirit of the game, I thought. Could have carried him forward, but didn't.
Norwood under intense heat in defence, standing up well. Trotter, how did he get rid of it? We have no idea. But it's going to go out. Good work by Paul Thomas. The captain just wanting to hold up that trophy again. He's normally done it with Matty Slade, but the little man Slade spent the year in Spain, tried to make a comeback. He couldn't get back to the big stage. Eve Sivanala can. But can the Dogs get up there? Ryan Williams thinks so. He goes out with the right foot up high into the square, and it's slapped forward of Havelberg. Out of bounds. Good result for Central.
Very good result from Central. The reason it's a good result is because they're actually playing the footy at their end of the ground. They've got the chances, so statistics tells me they've got more chance of scoring than Norwood at this point in time.
Mackenzie v. Rowe. They've been at it all day. It comes down to the front. Campbell just spins in and out of trouble. Puopolo out of bounds.
He's paid the holding on.
Free kick. He is. Free kick heading to the little man from Hope Valley.
Paul Puopolo not given any space whatsoever here, and then just decides to trot away. No mark over the back. Running onto it, O'Hara. Fed it nicely to Hayes, who's had a quiet grand final. To Williams, through the centre of the ground. The Bulldogs have commanded the ball in this term. Havelberg couldn't take the mark. No free kick. Play for it. Hughes, they need a lift from him. With Phillips off the ground, they need pace. Here's Turlick. Turlick, oh, just got away from Laurie. Turlick, can he be a hero? Lines them up, goes for home and hits the post. Oh, an opportunity goes begging. Dean Turlick.
Certainly does go begging. Team Turlick turns Heath Laurie around. Roy Laird wouldn't be happy about that. Should have protected the inside corridor. Turlick just turned him around.
The Dogs by 15 points. Out towards Dorr, and Sutherland beats the lot. Over the back. Andrew Hayes spending some time in defence today. A free kick.
Out of bounds, mate. No one touched it on the kick out.
Trotter is going to go with it. And out of bounds. Sticks Andrew Hayes was so important for Central up forward. His flexibility is great, but he's just needed down back at the moment. He's got Turlick, and Turlick's got some toe. That could be a good matchup for Norwood.
That's a fantastic matchup. We'll see how that unfolds over the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Schultz just slaps it forward into space in the 50. Brady Dorr, the ruckman, around onto the left foot. Hand up by Gunston, and they rush it through for a point.
They just keep peppering the goal face, Norwood, at the moment. They need to be taking their chances and finishing a couple of goals. But on saying that, Central's defensive action and defensive work not to allow an easy shot on goal has been first class.
Jane Ash returned from AFL duties. The kick is pretty ordinary. Bound comes in board. Kick, spur in front of Lower. Lower wraps up the tackle. And Dickie Williams has found his whistle.
Look, I thought it was there. I thought the tackle was aggressive and really drove him forward in the contest. I haven't got a problem with that.
Lee Spur hails from Morningside in Queensland. One premiership by his name. Will he get his second? We'll find out in about 15 minutes' time. Brady Dorr, strong work, important mark. Off to his skipper. Just unloads up. Heath Laurie at the back. But Hayes, we just talked about his influence down forward a couple of weeks ago. His influence important down back now.
That was where he's really good. His ability to drop off his opponent and come to the contest and mark it as a third jumper, that is just what wins premierships.
What the Norwood have... What does Norwood have to do here?
Hayes just come across, dropping off.
Fantastic. What do Norwood have to do, Sticks? They need the next goal. That's not the silliest thing I've ever said this year, but they need the next one.
Well, what they got to do is not panic, first of all. There's going to come a time when the pressure really comes to bear. You can't panic. You've got to back your structures and your ability to be at the contest, as we see now, where the world just charges in. And that's what you need to do. You need to be competitive and strong around every contest.
No doubt about that from Sebenala holding his ground. Caught one on the noggin as if he needed that. Had a headache earlier in the day. Here's Bound. Bouncing ball. Hayes. Ball fumble. Schultz needed to tackle and couldn't get there. He needed to get a sticking tackle and it never happened. Away to Gunston. Gunston to the outer side. Laurie. Wobbly old ball. Terrible kick, but Jonas couldn't make an advantage of it. Sainsbury. Kicks forward. Fuller. Goodrum. worked his way into the contest and copped one on over the ear. And he's a bit dazed. He might have got one in the eye. Goodrum goes with a kick. How did Shell get 10 metres in front? Here's Sainsbury. Sainsbury could be the game breaker. He kicks it to Callanan. The little man. And you would not want it in anyone else's lap than this little bloke.
You asked me before, what are you going to do to win the game? What Centrals are doing is they're sticking with their structures. They're sticking religiously to their structures, whether they're in front or whether they're behind us. We see the replay there, Goodrum taken on. And Stansbury just put it into the danger spot. He knew Callan was going to come to the ball. Discipline told him to hit it into there because Callan was going to run onto the space.
Second mistake in a minute from Jonas. Fumbled a moment ago and gave away the free kick.
What about the Toby Schultz missed tackle down in the forward pocket?
Needed to do it. Can Ian Callanan create a bit of history here and kick the goal? Oh, yeah. It was never in doubt. He's got 4. And I reckon I might be presenting something to him at the end of this game.
Certainly will be, and I'm going to steal a basketball phrase here. Go to the man with a hot hand. Every time you go to the contest, you go to the man with a hot hand, and he's a hot hand. Ian Callanan just doesn't miss. He is a dead-eyed dick.
If Heath Uni's the money man at North Adelaide, this bloke's the money man at the Doggies.
Could be the $1 million man, Ian Callanan. Roy Laird was asked during the week if you need someone to kick a goal for you at a crucial time in the game, who is it? He said number 1, Daniel Havelberg, and he said number 2, Ian Callanan. I'm going to slip and flip him over for Roy. Callanan, superb, 4 goals. Mackenzie, Rowe, followed him all day. It's a foot race. Jay Nash leads it. The Doggies, they can sniff it. They can smell flag number 9 in 11 years. Chris Gowans wants his 9th, and his kick to Sainsbury just waits for it onto the chest. Some good work there from Jonas. No free kick for too high. It comes back to Jenner. Up high. Norwood defenders sit under it. And Nick Dygan's so good last week. So good in that piece of play there. McGuinness. The outer wing. Rowe with Mackenzie hot on him. Big Bucket swings the boot at it. Can't hold it. Tries to hold on to Gallagher as well. And we're going to get a ball up. We're 13 and a half minutes into the 2010 Grand Final. It is the Central District Bulldogs up by 20 points.
That's what Buckets is good at. Not only is he good at the ruck contest, as you'll see here, but he's good at doing the small thing, tackling and holding the ball in the area.
Callanan away to Hayes. Wobbly ball, Gallagher. Hit him in the chin. Puopolo. Is there any more run in those legs? Chris Gowans away to Spur. Nash. Away to Callanan. Callanan drills to half forward, no mark. The target was Shell. McGuinness wings around on that left boot and finds Hughes. Hughes has got it in short. That's okay. It finds Schultz. Now Schultz is a bit chug-a-lug. He needs to get rid of it. And he did. And he did it pretty well and found Davis. And Davis needs to calm it down. He needs to go back and slot this.
Toby Schultz made amends for the missed tackle in the forward pocket in terms of finding Davis up forward. Really didn't put the foot down, sized it up, almost got run down, and Matty Davis take a good overhead catch.
It was a near thing. Davis has booted a couple. This the most important kick of this year for him, and he's got it home. The legs won't lie down. Will that be a spark?
Let's hope it's a spark. This is a good contest with ability to run the ball from one end of the ground. Kieran McGuinness ability to find it through the midfield here. Hughes through the midfield we see. Links up with Schultz. Schultz dawdles off and finds Davis. Probably a little bit lucky. I've always got a theory that when you take the ball, I like to see a bit of take and break.
Their first goal, Sodas, since the 18-minute mark of the second term.
The Redlegs, they've still got a sniff. It is the Dogs by 14 points. Norwood kicking with the A's of a very, very stiff breeze. Scoring dominated to the right of screen. They give themselves a chance. 15 and a half minutes left in season 2010. Brett Zorzi's in there. What a year he's had. Loving his football in the middle of the ground. Dale Lewis stuck him at full back a few years ago. And Brett Zorzi will be saying to Dale Lewis, what on earth were you doing with me? Get me in the midfield. This is where I belong.
He did the job, though.
Oh, he did. He was terrific at full-back. But we're seeing him as one of the elite midfielders in the competition. Buckets just whacks it forward. Dutchke was in there. So too Goodrum.
It's an important stage of the game here, Sodas. This is when you want your tough nuts around the ball. You're talking about the 16-minute mark of the last quarter of the grand final. Get your toughest players around the contest.
Norwood probably need 3 goals. Mackenzie talking to tough nuts. It comes out from Gowans to little Jimmy Boyd. And Matty Fuller, he says, I'm a tough nut for the red leg, the boy from Loberthal.
Roy Laird just going over the magnets one last time. He's probably got a mental picture how the game's going to unfold from here, but he needs to really assert his authority in the coach's box.
Trent Goodrum just trying to hold lower out of the contest. The ruckmen negate each other. McGuinness just swings the handball into the direction of Zorzi. Nash is good. So too Gallagher. It comes out the pure below. He can run and he loves to run. He's had a bounce and his kick up in the direction of Davis. Davis has got 3. He wants 4. Here come the Red Legs. Look out, Dogs.
They have got run in their legs at this point in time. I didn't think, hello, we got a blood ball? No, we've got a flat ball. How can you have a flat ball at the 17-minute mark of the last quarter? Let's have a look at the limp here from Toby Schultz. It happened in the off-the-ball contest. He made a shepherd off the ball, and he probably just copped a bit of a court throw for his trouble.
Sticks, we know they're 2 men down. Shenton came on for a little hurrah at the start of the 4th quarter. Didn't work. Simon Phillips was put into la-la land by your favourite man in football, Ian Cullinan, Sticks. And I'll tell you what, this game has just built up to an absolute ripper. When the Dogs have won their grand finals, generally they've won them easily. This is going to be a fight. Matty Davis has kicked 3 goals. He kicked 2 in the second. He's kicked 1 already in the last. He goes from 35 and he puts her hands up and through the middle, Matty Davis. Oh, the Redlegs!
Here they come, if you don't mind. Just fantastic work off the half-back line. You just got to take your chances when they present, and it can be just a little toe poke forward. Palopolo just decided to say, enough's enough, I've had it here, I'm out of here. I thought he might have run and carried the whole length of the ground, but no, he knew what he was doing. Matty Davis just presented beautifully to the spot and just finished it off. Let's call it out to the finals here.
Give that man a chill pill, Mark Soderstrom. He's fired up at the commentary box.
Oh, Mickey, I'm out of my seat. Matty Davis.
Could he be the hero? Could he be the difference? The Bulldogs lead by 8. Taken by Lower. Who got it to Campbell? So the Redlegs go forward again. No mark. Ball in dispute. Here's Hayes. Tracking him is Schultz. Schultz did okay. Hayes dragged it in. And the umpire said, give it to me. I'll ball it up.
It's a better result for Schultz. It's a better result. I was just hoping he didn't stand on his feet and get past the tackle on him again.
Sticko, we're almost into time on right now. Put your money where your mouth's in. Who's going to win?
Dogs.
Ooh. Michael?
Oh, Dogs, I think. But whoever kicks the next goal, it might be on them. If it's Norwood, I'll be on them. Here's Spur, away to O'Hara. O'Hara pumps it down the line. Here's Thomas. Handball, one of the line. Dygan's in front. Crash of bodies. Thomas just willed that ball forward. And it'll be a boundary throw in on the outer side. Time ticking away. Norwood fans don't know what to think. That man there doesn't even know how to barrack.
Talking about money on the line, I did have money on the draw in the AFL.
Are we going to come back next week? Central District, 20 premiership medals amongst this group. Norwood, just the 1. Timmy Weatherall brought that over from Sturt. How much experience is going to count here, Brendan Phillips, right now? You know what it's like. You've been here on the big day.
I wasn't this close, that's for sure. We're a mile in front. We're doing a fairly easy at this point in time, but this is where a game's won and lost.
Goodrum up to the top of the square. James Gowans has a couple of bites at it. It gives off the handball. It's Brenton's money man, but it's smothered from Cullinan. James Gowans butters up, goes up towards the top of the square, and the big jump. And the big grab, Nicky Dygan comes on, plays on, He's got Sammy Rowe, gets around Sutherland, a nice little dance, Spur with a crucial tap, but Lower's good enough to Turek, dodges a tackle, missed by Gunston, missed by Williams. Norwood alive. Lower wants to go back. Sammy Rowe spots up. Dutchke and the fly from Zorzi at the back. Braden O'Hara, he wants the line. Williams and also Gunston. There's 4 Bulldogs there and just 1 red leg in Turek, and it's Gunston goes up.
Oh, big fly by Callanan, couldn't take the mark. Mark Soderstrom needs a chill pill. Taken by Havelberg. In comes Lower. Got crunched, no free kick. Dygan, McGuinness. Fuller's got an injury. Got a hit in the gob. Handball comes out from Jenner. No one can win the footy. James Gowans got it away to Havelberg, who kicks it high. There's no one back there. Which way will this football bounce? Tim Weatherall's back there. Got a kind bounce. Then got around Thomas. This kick's pretty important from Weatherall. He finds Jonas on the overlap. Is Gallagher. Oh, the handball's a shocker. But Jonas kept on going. He needs to keep on going. He wants to give to his skipper. He's almost out of gas, is Gallagher. He kicks it inside the 50. Davis the hero of the last quarter. He slipped out the back. What can he do? Close to the line. Taken to the line. Who get a free kick? Davis will get a free kick. He's kicked a couple of goals in the last term. He's booted 4. Tough angle from here. And if you're a Doggies player in this situation, you would always look to go short. And here's the free. O'Hara hanging on.
Marginal, but there.
Oh, Matthew Davis will bring the absolute house down if he kicks this. Here he goes, sits it up, it's across the face, it's a behind. 7 points separates the two teams as we've gone into the 22.5-minute mark of the final term.
Just fantastic here as we see the Norwood supporters are on their feet, just screaming for their side to get over the line.
Sutherland out towards him, Hayes. Oh, Richard Williams, that's the payback, I reckon, for that free kick. Hayes had a good piece of it. Did he hold it long enough?
Yeah, look, I thought he had a fair piece of it. If anything, I thought there was a front-on contact that come at him. But, yeah, no, I was happy with that.
Brendan Phillips happy at the moment. Hayes just up and high into the breeze and holds it up. Dutchke sat under it and decided that it was going to go over the back, and Sammy Rowe stands up. Dogs just trying to get numbers back. Rowe goes across inboard. Matty Fuller, the blood nut, gives it to Hughes, to the skipper, the Gallagher. Can he do something special? It goes up over the top. No free kick this time. Scotty Dutchke leads the race to the ball. He's close to the line. Some good work. The Doggies just get out of jail in this instance. Daniel Shell just sitting and waiting. He's been corralled by Davis. Just a casual little kick, and it's good to James Gowans. Give it to the old heads.
Give it to the experienced players. You can see here, James just want to slow the contest up here as we see the replay here. Almost to a point of tunnelling him, that free kick. I thought the tunnel could have been there.
Daniel Shell had a sensational career at the Dogs. Talk of him perhaps giving it away. He's got 6 premiership medals. He wants to add a 7th, of course, today.
Won't be much time on.
He's called time on. It's a smother. Shell, it's come back to Davis. This man has been all over it in the last quarter. Stewie bound just for his 2nd game back in since his injury. And James Gowans, we've talked about old heads, and the old head smothers it beautifully, then tries to lay an egg with the Tommy Shell.
I'll tell you one thing that does get, in a grand final, a tight situation like this, it's not going to be, well, it might be a high mark, but the thing that's going to win you the game is a person that tackles and tackles correctly, or this, smothers the ball and forces the ball your side.
7 points the difference. Norwood go forward, ball out of play. Boundary throw in, 25 minutes gone. There's only been 3 goals kicked in the last quarter. There won't be much time on. There's probably not much left to go. There's Stewie bound.
Let's get a point and then a goal and we come back and do it next week.
Oh, we could do. It'll be unbelievable. Players are out on their feet. McKenzie, brave man to take it out of the ruck. Got the kick away, Siebenala. Big comeback from being crunched. Callanan close to the line. Handball over the top. Hospital one for Boyd. Jonas knocked it to Gallagher. Gallagher gets it away to Weatherall. Tim Weatherall from outside 50, loads it up and kicks and hits the post. Hits the post. One straight kick separates the two teams.
That's the point I called. Now let's get the goal. As we see, Weatherall just coming in on the 50 paint line and just hits it and flushes the goalpost.
26 minutes gone. One kick in it. Central Hayes has stood up again. He has been sensational. The boy from Balmain grew up on a diet of rugby league. Now he's just eating Aussie rules football. 26 and a half minutes almost. Andy Hayes goes up along the wing. Mackenzie at the front, puts her hands out, wants a free kick. Jack Gunston, the Adelaide Crow, takes a mark. He's had some important touches in the third quarter of the second semi-final. That is one of his most important touches for the season.
The Central's runner was out there telling him to slow down, so I suspect there's not a lot of time left on the clock.
Just hold it up. Mackenzie will want the line, and he gets it. 6-point ball game. Central District Football Club in their 11th straight grand final. Looking for their 9th flag. Roy Laird has been there. Look at the furrow on the brow. He's on the phone. Mackenzie, the jumper is bound over the top. He's wrapped up into the tackle. And we're going to get another bounce down. Richard Williams, there it is! The Doggies have done it! They've done it again! They dominated the first decade of the new millennium. They've now made a perfect start to the second. 9 premierships in 11 years. Roy Laird, unbelievable finals record, 18 wins with just a 1 loss in the 06 grand final. And they don't care about the 06 grand final now because the Doggies have just won 2010.
What we've witnessed here, we have witnessed one of the best grand finals I can ever think of. I probably span back and I can remember back to the 72, 71, 72 grand finals with North Adelaide, but this is one for the ages. This was a sensational game. Centrals we knew what they were going to do. We knew how strong they were going to come out of the contest, and if we pan around and look at the Norwood boys, they are shattered. They gave it everything humanly possible. They were down, they were out. They didn't have Shenton, they didn't have Phillip for the second half, but they fought on gamely. But let's not take anything away from Central Districts Football Club. They're just a masters. They actually get here, and when they do get here, they make a habit of winning. Let's go down to Michael Philpo.
Well, I'm down on the ground here with the jubilant Ian Cullen, and 4 goals for you today. Another year, another premiership. It sounds easy, but it's not, is it?
Oh, no, without a doubt, mate. It takes 11 months of hard work, and Roy's got the boys primed for today. And look, to Norwood's credit, they're a great side, and it's good for the competition for them. It was a hard-fought win, but we'll celebrate hard, no worries.
Ian, it was a tough game for you. Down at half-time, you needed to respond. What message did Roy Laird give you at that stage?
Oh, we just, we didn't go accountable in the second quarter there, and pretty much that's what we prided our game on for the last 10 years, and we went away from that. And as good a side as Norwood are, they cut us up. So, Roy spoke about a side since he's been around has never come down from half-time, and, we wanted to be the first.
What were you feeling in that last quarter? That last mark that Andrew Hayes took really was a turning point for you guys.
Oh, without a doubt. And he's, he hasn't done it once this year. He's probably done it numerous times. So, it's a credit to him, and, I'll probably buy him a bourbon tonight.
Ian, congratulations. Enjoy it.
No worries, boys. Thanks very much.
Ian Callanan, 4 goals today, 4 goals in the 07 grand final. He's your man, Sticko. You love him. You are all over him. Ian Callanan.
What's your tip for the Jack Odie, mate?
Ian Callanan. What an amazing effort. That is the closest grand final I've ever had. Before today in 2000, they won by 22 points. It's a 6-point game. Let's head down to Chris Kendall, just loving it down there.
Oh, boys, talk about a change in fortunes for a player. James Boyd, 12 months ago at South Adelaide. Now you're playing in a premiership team at Central District. Congratulations.
Oh, never felt nothing like this before, I tell you. This is an amazing feeling. Oh, I'm just stoked. I'm lost for words.
You all just dragged so much. You saw that Norwood coming back at you really hard, but the whole group just galvanised, and everyone just seemed to lift another cog there all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Norwood, they chucked everything at us. We expected that half-time. We went in, we knew what we had to do. Come out after half-time, and we just knew what we had to do as a team. We had the belief there, and yeah, terrific to get away with the win.
How much does this vindicate your decision to cross over? I mean, it was always difficult to leave a club at the end of the year, but you were chased by the Bulldogs, you came over, you must feel on top of the world feeling the U-Dogs chant and all of this.
I never felt like this before, I tell you. I enjoyed my time at South Adelaide. It was time to move on, and Centrals, you know, they were terrific to me and got me there. And I can't thank Roy and the coaching staff and the boys enough. That's an amazing feeling, and I'm happy I'm here.
Woody, go and soak it up. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
James Boyd joins the Immortals at Elizabeth, along with Kyle Jenner, Jason Sutherland, Jack Gunston and Jay Nash, all premiership players. It's now going to think about who's going to retire from this team, some of the older boys. But right now they are just soaking it up, Brenton Phillips. What a moment. You've stood out there in 02. You know what it's like. Let's get down to Michael Philippou.
I've been joined now by the jubilant coach, Roy Laird. Your 7th premiership, but it was an absolute nail-biter.
It was, as you'd expect the game to be, based on what the two sides put up against each other during the year. Oh, look, our boys have had to work harder for that than anything, I reckon. The credit's got to go to Norwood. Way, second quarter's magnificent. They're on a stairway to a lot of good success in the future. And for our boys, words can't describe. They're running on no legs there at the end. They were stuffed. Pure heart, courage. Everything they throw up to me every week, every night of the year. Magnificent.
And Roy, people take it for granted. They think it's easy. Perhaps Centrals roll up. They win a premiership after premiership. How difficult is it?
Incredibly difficult competition. Magnificent sides, well coached. Everyone's fitness standards lifting unbelievably hard, and that's why they're so special.
And probably a difficult question to answer, but you've played in 7 premierships as a coach, which you've won. What do you rate as the most highly?
Oh, this has got to go really close, purely on the fact we're down at half-time, and not often do you see in grand finals teams come from there. You know, it's credit to this guy's heart, and when there was a hard moment we won, they stood up. You know, we all us officials and Centrals people owe these boys plenty.
Congratulations, Roy. Good on you. Enjoy it.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
What an amazing record from Roy Laird. We could just see the veins just pulsating in his head. Now, they have to work hard, as he said, Sticks. That's definitely the hardest. They've had to work close in the grand final at the end that they've won.
Certainly did. And what about the celebrations, the jubilant celebrations? They've all gone down to the northern end there with the massive Central supporter base, and they really soaked it up. One of the pleasing things is Rob Zarella. I noticed him out there with Roy Laird earlier. Rob Zarella's tipped a lot of money into their junior development program out there and has really backed the club in strongly. The way they go about it out north is the way they embrace the community and they embrace the people that come to the club. It is second to none. And what they have done is they've set a benchmark, and they've said to the rest of the SANFL, you've got to come along. If you want to beat us, you've got to improve and you've got to get better.
It is an amazing dynasty they have created. 9 premierships in 11 years. Norwood won 9 and 12 in the late 1800s. Port won 9 in 12 years in the 50s and 60s. They did it again in the 80s and 90s. No one has won 9 in 11 years. And the Twins, well, they've meant so much about the culture of this club. They were sitting today on 8 premierships. They've gone past Scott Hodges, Greg Phillips and Paul Northeast. They've got 9 like Jeff Motley. Let's head down to Michael Maney with the presentations.
Final series, and it's a chance now to throw down to their host on the ground, Michael Maney, who will be taking us through all of the action and the festivities with Central District grabbing their premiership.
Central District Football Club, put your hands together for them. We have to acknowledge the loser of the 2010 Grand Final, the Norwood Football Club. Well played, Redlegs. I think you'll all agree that it was a magnificent grand final, one of the best ever in SANFL history. I'd now like to call on the 1994 Jack Oatey medalist, Port Adelaide's Darryl Wakeland, to present the Jack Oatey medal for 2010. The winner of this year's medal is number 5, Ian Callanan.
Firstly, I'd like to congratulations to Norwood. They've been a great side all year, and I'm sure they'll be back here next year. To my family for coming over, you know, you mean the world to me, so thank you. to the players, you know, you can't win these without all the boys. They're a terrific bunch of blokes, and you know, hopefully we can be here again next year because we don't want this to finish. And last but not least, to all the fans, we all love you, and get down to the Elite Ponderosa tonight.
Thanks to Darryl Lakeland. Congratulations to Ian Callanan. We'd now like to acknowledge the Oz Kickers who will present the winning medallions to all the Premiership players and the coach. I'd like now to call up the players to get their Premiership medallions. Start off with number 2, James Boyd.
Thanks, buddy. There you go.
Number 3, Heath Laurie. Number 5, he's been here before, Ian Callanan.
Thanks, mate. Get it on. There you go, mate. There you go.
Number 10, his first premiership, Kyle Jenner. Number 11, last year's OD medalist, Trent Goodrum. Number 12, Ed Sansbury. Number 13, Scott Dutschke. Number 15, Lee Spur. Number 17, Jay Nash. Number 18, Jason Buckets McKenzie.
Thanks, buddy. Good work, mate.
Number 21, he thought he should have won the medal, Chris Gowan.
I'll give you the good one, buddy. You have the real one, mate. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Yeah! Oh, my yes!
Number 22, Andrew Hayes.
Thanks, buddy.
Number 27, Daniel Shell.
Yeah!
bloke who thinks he should have won the medal, James Gowans.
Here you go, buddy. Thanks, mate. Have that one. It's better. Yes!
Number 29, Jack Gunston. Number 35, Brian Williams. Apologies to Jason Sutherland, number 30.
I'll give him the hat.
Number 37, Eve Siebenala. Number 40, Daniel Havelberg. Number 47, Braden O'Hara. The skipper, number 16, Paul Thomas.
Thanks, mate. There you go. Take that. First of all, to the Norwood Footy Club. Geez, how good's this competition in SANFL when the grand finals played in that spirit, that regard, those skills. Well done, boys. To the crowd, to the support for both footy clubs, the SANFL should be absolutely pumped with what's happened today. The noise, the cheering, every kick, every handball, every goal, you rode every bum with us. To the coaching staff, to the whole depth, the league reserves, but to the 20 other blokes that played alongside me today, I couldn't ask for a greater effort, a fantastic way. We were in it all together, all the way, the last 11 months. This is sweet. Well done, boys.
And finally, the maestro himself, Coach Roy Laird.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, mate, sorry. Which one? I want you to both. All right, beyond our wildest dreams as a footy club to be back here, to have success like we have, incredible. To the Norwood Football Club, one of the great football clubs of South Australian National Football League, have been for a long time. The way they're going forward now, credit to Nathan Bassett, the board, the playing group. I think they're on that right track to become that again. To board, thanks very much, board. Magnificent support for all our players. Everything we need is provided. To the playing group, many would have written us off at half time. Never have I written this group off. They're full of courage, full of heart, full of pride, and they find the moment. The moment came in the third quarter, and they were magnificent. And finally, to our supporters, outstanding colour, atmosphere. Cherish this. I don't reckon it gets any better than this. Thank you.
call on the President of the SANFL, Mr Rod Pays, to present the Thomas Seymour Hill Trophy to Central District.
There's the Bulldogs there celebrating another premiership. It is just a magnificent performance from the boys from the north. We've talked about the dynasty, but just how it's come about has been amazing. And there's those two boys. The question always comes up every year. Brenton, will they or won't they?
Well, I was saying before to you, why wouldn't you stay? Why would you want to grab it and go now? You might as well hang in there. They might as well throw you out the door because they just continue to set the benchmark. And by doing that, what they do is they become very competitive around the group. They set the benchmark in competitiveness, and the rest of the group's got to come up to them.
We talk about just the experience of how good these boys have been. Just some of the grand final totals, the premiership totals. Paul Thomas, number 6 for the captain. Number 9 for the Gowans brothers. Number 6 for Jason McKenzie. Number 7 for Daniel Shell. 7 for Yves Chibonneau. It is amazing. 1 is so hard to get, Brett. You know that.
1 is extremely hard to get, and to back it up the way they have over this decade and a bit now, it's just a phenomenal effort. I think that shows you what structures do. If you have your structure right at your football club, and I mean from the top end, I mean from the board down, and it works its way through Chris Grant and then his management group underneath him, that's all part and parcel of what they are doing out on the ground. They provide that for them to do that. They provide a good work environment. They provide a good workplace for them to go about their trade and apply their trade in the manner that they do.
Roy Laird has regenerated his group over years too. The consistency is amazing. We see new faces all the time. Only one last year in Lee Spur, but 5 new faces today, Brenton. His ability to just get that list and turn it over and bring in new blood is amazing. He has no peer in this competition of that.
Well, what's the scary part about this, Mark, is the fact that their reserves got through to a preliminary final, and they're probably stiff not to get through to a grand final, which indicates to me they've got some good stock underneath. They've got 2 or 3 players underneath that I think are capable of stepping into this particular side next year and not only enhancing it, but actually making it go a little bit further in front of where they are at the moment.
The hard luck story, or one of them certainly from last year's grand final, was Kyle Jenner having to make way when Ian Callanan and Hayes came into the side. He's got his taste of it now. He has his medal. He would be just feeling sensational.
One of the good structures that Roy's got in place down there is he can actually make them wait. He can actually sit them on the bench and he can make them wait, and that way that when they do come in, he just knows he's got a hungry footballer coming into the structure that knows he wants to win a premiership medal.
Some things stay the same. Of course, Central winning. Some things change. Trent Goodrum, where's Delta this year?
Hasn't made away. She's probably getting sick. She probably knows they're going to win anyway. She can just text them after the game, well done, and move on to the next one. But these things, you can't buy this. There's a celebration that goes on after a grand final. And more the relief of it. It's a big build-up. It's 11 months of build-up, 11 months of hard work, 11 months of training, 11 months of running structures, running plays all the time, and then you get this moment. You get this moment where you can walk around the ground, you can thank your supporters for their efforts that they've done over the course of the duration, and it's just incredible like this show. Family come out onto the ground. This is just a dynasty. This is something to behold.
Central had Cameron Milne go down earlier in the year. He dislocated his hip. He was going to be their backup when they lost Jonathan Giles to Sturt. He went down. They went searching. They found a bloke called Jason Sutherland from Berry. He's still playing on match permits, I believe.
It certainly is. And I remember sort of midway during the year that an official from Central has come to me, and I'm perhaps the keeper of the gate of vision for the SANFL, and he came to me looking for 2 years ago's grand final reserves, and I'm thinking to myself, there's something brewing here. There's something going on here. So we gave him the vision of the grand final a couple of years ago. Obviously, he's taken it back to Roy Laird. He's had a look at it and said, yes, this is the man I want because I know he's a competitor. That's what Roy Laird does. He picks competitors.
It is just sensational. And there's that man there. Paul Thomas normally has his little sidekick in Matty Slade side by side with him to hoist that trophy. Hoisting it on his own today, but the leadership goes well beyond their captain in the side.
Certainly does, and they spread their leadership evenly. Not only does Paul Thomas get to hold the trophy, it's the people around him, the Daniel Shells and the Gowans twins and the Cullinans of the world. These are blokes who stand up and become really good leaders. They've got a strong leadership program out there, and Alan Stewart introduced it back in the late 70s, probably into the 80s when he's actually took over there. He introduced a leadership structure there that said this wasn't good enough. What they're producing at that point in time was not good enough, and then they said, we've got to change. What are we going to do to change? We've got to change some leadership, and we've got to change the top-end structure, and they did that.
Andrew Hayes was huge late in the game, took some big grabs, and late in the game the coaches were feeling the nerves. Let's just have a look at what happened come siren time. Nathan Bassett absolutely shattered. Look at the jubilation on the right.
That is a heart-wrenching, at the end of the day, that is heart-wrenching for Nathan Bassett on the left, but gee, you've got to take your hat off for the man on the right. He just worked that box overtime. I thought Nathan had a really good patch there in the second quarter where he orchestrated to get loose behind the ball. It was just a great grand final for the ages.
It's come up in the past, and we know because he has been so successful, about Roy Laird and perhaps the next step at AFL level. Works in real estate there with Tony Casserly. He's had approaches from AFL level, we know that, and he's always said no. And he said even the other day that he doesn't think that there'll be a chance where he'll ever leave Central to go to the AFL level. Do you reckon he could make it at AFL perhaps as an assistant, Sticks?
Oh, no question he can make it an assistant. Not only could he make it an assistant, he could make it at the top job. We see James Hird get a gig. I reckon this bloke here has got more credential than James Hird, and that's having nothing against James Hird, but this bloke's got coached premiership side after premiership side, backed it up and been very good at his craft. Works really hard at it, doesn't leave anything to chance, and just goes hard at the contest himself.
Ryan Williams there, his second, his third, his fourth efforts have played a huge part. Last year, Brent, he was in all sorts of trouble. He's lost his aerobic capacity, and they found he had low iron levels. He got that sorted out, got his aerobic capacity back, and he has been sensational for them.
Certainly has been. He's been really good, and they've all been good. The 22 that took the field was excellent today, and they justly deserved their medals.
Well, Brenton Phillips, what an amazing grand final we have seen. It was so tight. The breeze, we were just seeing each quarter was just going back and forward, back and forward. It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
One for the ages.
One for the ages.
Oh, great.
You're absolute beauty. Well, a magnificent game. The tightest grand final we've had since 1965. It was the Bulldogs by just the 6 points. Brenton Phillips, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, I'd enjoyed it.
Thank you for everyone for tuning in here on ABC TV Football. Thank you to Paul Chadwick and all the crew for getting us to air. We'll see you next year.
Spins, in goes Laurie,